May 28th planning board meeting. We're 4 members right now, so if a vote is required, you basically need a unanimous vote here, because we're just basically over a quorum. With that being said, start the meeting. 49 Spring Street, BAR 1217, that's also planning, so we'll adjourn that to planning. BAR 8-19, 175 Cedar Lane.
Hello. Susan, the architect for Moran, right here. So I'll explain what we're doing. We're putting on an addition to the existing house, which was built in 1942. And there was a small sort of kitchen that was set back a little bit. So our additions are set back similarly, so that the main house is front and center. Although it's so far down the hill you can't see it, but that's another thing. But so we have 2 additions. Well, it's 1 addition. You can go to the plan. Right, so on the first floor, we have a sunroom, which is next to the living room, and then there was a bathroom that was in the kitchen, so we're relocating it to the other side where it makes more sense. So literally, the kitchen you see there had a huge bathroom in it. And so we moved it to the other side of the sunroom. And then on the second floor.
So sunroom is new and bathroom's new.
Right, right. And then if you go to the second floor, the master bedroom now gets its own master bath, walk-in closet, and the laundry, which was in the basement, is now up on the second floor as well. So basically, the guest room gets the whole bathroom. So basically, that's the whole idea. And then, if you see on the elevations, you can see the main house, and then on the right side is the kitchen, on the left side is the sunroom, and then the bathroom addition. On the side, we have the main house and the additions. There's a huge chimney there, which goes through it, but that will remain. All the houses have glider windows, so we're keeping with that same theme. The siding is white, and the roof is the same. It's asphalt shingles that are a slate gray.
They're slate roof.
Slate roof.
It's a slate roof, right?
No,
It was.
It was.
Now it's slate looking. It's been replaced.
Okay, that was my question. It's very difficult to match slate.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Now
Unless you put up slate, which
Exactly.
is hard to do and it's expensive.
Yeah, it's asphalt shingle now, so. And then on the back, this is facing the river. We have big windows so that wherever you are in the house, you get a beautiful view of the Hudson River. And that's what's happening. So.
Any other shutters or anything of that nature?
There are no shutters on the house, so we're not adding any shutters.
We got the roof matching and style matching.
Right. And the window style matching.
And the siding material is going to be?
It's vinyl, white vinyl.
What's existing now is vinyl.
The house is half and half right now.
The existing house is half vinyl, half?
Aluminum.
Aluminum and half vinyl and half.
Well, when we did the back of the house, if you see, there's a big slider on the back. That was put in 15 years ago, and when they did that and another window down there, they had to replace the siding on the back. So they went with vinyl there, and it's basically an exact match. And then the rest is aluminum still.
Right. I mean, you might want to give some thought to maybe doing everything completely in vinyl now, because I know, speaking from experience, having had vinyl, having had aluminum in the house, eventually the paint wears out, fades, and you just basically start to see a tinfoil looking finish.
Yeah, we're considering it.
Okay.
But either way, it'll all be the exact same look.
Any questions from the board? Mike?
No, I just, I like it. I just think it's a lot of cantilevering on 2 levels there. And I know it's because you want to keep the windows at the right size, but, is there a real need for that? I mean, to me, I understand the first cantilever, go forward. I understand the first one because there's an existing window, but on the second one.
Well, the problem is that we're keeping with a roof slope, and if we didn't cantilever the 2 feet, there would be hardly any room to stand up in our closet. So basically, we're matching the 2 foot with the 2 foot.
But on the first floor, you're cantilevering the furthest, no, not that one, the one to your right, which is the one that's further out. You're cantilevering that as well, which you don't really have to, because that window underneath is a new window, right?
Yeah, but we want to match the windows.
And,
Yeah.
okay, I understand why you're saying that, but the question is why?
Well, we really don't need the space down below, it's just a bathroom. We don't have the problem with the roof, the steep roof. It only hits it on the 2nd floor.
This isn't part of this projection, the bathroom?
Right, I mean, my question is why are you not having that wall go all the way straight down and that window be a single pane, not a double mold?
Can I?
It's
It's a couple of reasons.
Sir, do me a favor, just come up to the mic if you could,
Okay.
that'll make it easier for all of us.
Couple of reasons is,
Please state your name for the record.
I'm Peter Moran, one of the owners. Hi, everyone. One reason is because we want to capitalize on the larger window to look at the side view of the yard. It would be quite little if it wasn't there. And second is, the way the layout of the inside is, we want to capitalize on the chimney being in the position that we want it to be for the layout, to center the furniture and to have the walls exactly where they are, will do that for us.
right, so basically it's the bathroom that you're setting back and that you're cantilevering the 2nd floor over. That's
Well,
what
the second
I'm talking
cantilever-
about. I'm talking about the last section on the 1st floor where you have the shower, bathroom, and the hall into that.
Right.
Yeah. And I understand you want to have that view of your, the double window there.
And we want it to appear, do you see how the 2 windows
Yeah.
are centered? The one in the furthest out? It'll actually
Yeah.
create the impression when you're looking into the room that those 2 windows are centered. And if the wall were to cut into that window, it would no longer be a centered look.
Yeah.
It's a more traditional look, actually.
Can
Basically,
you mention,
everything.
Peter, that it matches the cantilever of the kitchen on the other side?
Yeah, that's true too. If
So I
you
mean,
look-
you were doing a double step back cantilevered
Right.
roof line, which
Right.
is a little,
But on the other
Odd.
side, on the kitchen,
yeah.
Where the garage is.
sorry.
No, I understand that you do one, but you're doing it twice. You're doubling it up.
Right, because I think it would look strange if it was straight, cantilever straight. This way we have cantilever, and then the front cantilever is just a few inches, so, I mean, the back, I mean.
It seems a more graceful line and less boxy than if it just came straight down.
And the kitchen side also cantilevers too, so.
The main house cantilevers as well. It's smaller, it's not, doesn't, the main part, the 2nd floor is cantilevered also.
And the house sits down below. If you're driving along Cedar Lane, it's well below the...
You can't see it.
road
You'll
line.
never see, nobody can ever see this.
You'll never see it.
This
No, I
eleva-
understand that.
the side elevation
I
isn't
was
seen.
just curious architecturally why you were,
It
you
mimics
know,
the
doing
kitchen.
that
Kitchen's
repetition of
the same.
cantilevering in those 2 new addition parts.
It mimics the kitchen and it mimics the main house as well.
So as we digest that, anybody else have any questions with regard to the application? Anybody from the public care to speak to this, or? So,
I'm fine. Yep, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yep.
all right, so
I move that we
call for vote. So
Yep, I second.
Jeff makes a motion.
I second.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next one is 9-19-321, which is
Atria.
Atria, so that's also planning board, right?
Yes.
I'll adjourn that to planning. 10-19, 25 Cedar, is that also?
No, that's just BAR.
Now, this is 25 Cedar Lane. This is that retail first floor bakery and then the second and third floor.
Good evening.
JB?
Jeffy Hernandez, architect for the project. We got this project site plan approval a couple months ago, and we need to come back to be able to receive the BAR approval. The materials that we provided you, I think we can provide you a 3D of the front and the roof at the end, so there's a good understanding as you can see how
Do you have actual samples of the color?
we have.
Because in your elevations, it looks green, and in
Right, no,
your
well, that's the middle of the
perspective, it
printing.
has more of a.
What we like to do, and this is, we were looking at a beige and a green color, but after looking at the client, looking over with the client, I can show you that we're trying to maintain the roof as a charcoal gray, darker gray, and the field color more, it's gonna be a grayish color, not so beige. So that's,
Can we see that color?
Yes.
Is it something you're gonna have specially mixed, or is it, what is it, this?
just of the two field colors, I think.
JB, remind me again, the roof is what, a standing seam metal or?
Yes,
So it's
Yep.
the light gray, the one in the middle?
that's gonna be the field color.
Okay.
And what about the roof?
The roof is gonna be the charcoal gray.
Okay, I think we need to see real samples of, before we can make it final, we need to see real samples of the actual material, because, you know, printed representation is not true to the color. And I mean, we have been, personally, I think, you know, we've gone very in-depth with this project as part of the planning application, but at this juncture here, I think it's important to see the actual materials that you want to put on there in a physical form, not as a printout.
Okay, but besides the physical sample, the color, I think the architecture, we have no issues with the roofing.
Nothing, I think last time we were kind of pleased with these projections and the images that you showed and the dimensional.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the concern is that it's a prominent building on our main boulevard. I think if we have samples, it'll go a long way to kind of, you know, say, hey, look, these are the colors we looked at, so that maybe 6 months from now, when they're actually starting to do the work, and the color looks somewhat different than whatever the facsimile is here. I just think it's important to probably have those samples.
And if there are standard colors, then you should be able to get them from the manufacturer.
That's, you know, it's not an issue getting the
Right,
color.
that would be great.
Okay. So we should come back for the color.
Do we need, I don't know. if we
I don't need to.
Well, I think.
Can we bring this, can we give you the samples and can we?
I think it's, to me, it could be.
I think in the past, we've approved it subject to our being satisfied with the actual samples.
Right, I mean, this is still the last thing that's gonna happen, and you're not
Right.
buying that
Or
material right
We've
now.
delegated to a member to,
So I have no problem with us saying, let's move ahead, but
Okay.
that we have to do it conditionally, that
I
these
have
surface
no-
materials are being approved before they go up, and we have to, you know, have legal counsel.
Okay.
Or even if we
Can
get,
decide.
what, can you just describe what is the exterior material?
It's gonna be metal seam roof on the roof, it's kind of like a parapet, and then it's gonna be stuck, and we have a blend of the stone veneer at the bottom.
Okay.
And it's Eaves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a foam-based sheathing that gets a stucco layer on it.
for whatever reason, it seems like everything that JB submits to us is basically that kind of that synthetic
Yes.
finish, that's sort of this kind of forte, I
We're
guess.
trying to change.
Love to
Next
see some
project.
hardy plank one of these days.
Well, next
Yes.
project, next
Yes.
You
project.
know, that would kind of change things up a little bit.
Okay.
But, Maybe we could approve it subject to our getting the samples, and if there's an issue, we can let them know before the next meeting that we want to come back and talk about the
Right,
samples.
yeah, I think
Okay.
that's fine. I think that's
That's
fine.
fine.
So bring the sample to you, you can say yes or no, and then that's it. Done.
Not me personally.
Or it could be.
No, I think
I
it
think
has
the
to
board
come
should look
here,
at it, yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're all here, and it's gonna be months and months
Right.
before we get to this point, so we.
Yeah, but does he have to come back to us?
No, he can submit the
but
submit
material,
it.
we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
look at it,
Yeah,
and we can make a decision
Right.
here together.
yeah.
You know, at a work session next month,
At a work session, not a
Yes.
good
we look at it,
one.
and we say, hey, we're pleased, we like, you know, the roofing sample, or we like the EVA sample, we don't like the, you know, the trim board. And then we, you know, Tracy gets back to JB and.
Right, that way he doesn't have to
Right.
come back.
Okay.
Good?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else? Jeff, do you answer your questions on the materials?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone from the public here to speak to this? Okay. So I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion
Conditions
to
of
approve, on condition that we get samples of the EVIS color and the roofing material by our next work session, which will be June.
And maybe also the, you know, could hurt to get.
And also,
some-
yes, and also the face stone. Absolutely.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're still here with us. Continue.
And the next one is JB,
Yes.
19 Campwood Road, 11-9.
This is the same. Chairman asked for hiding plank, we provided hiding plank.
You read my
Next
mind.
part. There you go. This is the same. This one at the end, we have we don't have physical samples of the project, but we can do the same thing, I have no problem. We use the honey plank, we have a Polaris, it's kind of blue, we went with the residential, trying to use more residential components due to the neighborhood. And we have a brick base. And the stucco, where we have a stucco in the brick, and we have a stucco colors, grayish color. And we did give you at the end, we did give you, I think it's A7. I know we wanted to see the volume comparison to the neighborhood, so we did an outline of the buildings next door and across the street, so we can appreciate the height of our building compared to across the street. And so height-wise, the building, even though,
The house,
yeah.
Yeah, that was something you mentioned, I remember, yes. Yeah.
Again, we brought the element from the neighborhood with some brick, hardy plank, roofing, we brought the residential element from the neighborhood. And I think all the other items we dealt with them in the site plan approval.
Mechanical equipment, is that gonna be toward the rear, or how are you guys handling that?
Mechanical equipment in the site plan we had in the rear. And right now, we're doing a lot of electrical heating system for the units. There will be no gas.
Can I ask a question? I think there's been a lot of work done on this, and I think it's really improved since the last time I saw it. But could you talk a little bit about the ornamentation of the windows in the center of the building? Those sort of 4 windows that are over the store. Is there, I don't know, there's just something, maybe it's just the representation. Is there something that could be done to the windows with a little more detail or ornamentation?
This one?
Then particularly the center one.
We can add grill pattern to the windows.
You mean in the panes?
Yes,
I'm
in the
actually
panes.
talking about forgot the term.
Lentils?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Zucchini or something.
we do
Yeah,
have,
something
we do
just
have,
to-
we do have lentils on the windows.
Am I missing
We have a
it?
pediment on the top, which is, we can make it larger. We can make
Maybe.
a larger pediment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if other people share my concern, but I just think it's a
I
little.
mean, this is an interesting detail here, if that could be
Yeah.
carried up there in some fashion. I mean,
So you have a pediment and a lentil? I mean, I just don't see the cross line, so I can't see if there is a,
But it's the trim setting that comes with,
it
I
comes
mean,
with this
yeah.
particular window.
Yeah, we can make it, I mean, we can make it larger. If that's
What is the window again that you're choosing?
Anderson.
Anderson,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, up close you see a detail with
Yeah.
Right.
crown molding type feel to it. And this is what, an AZAC here?
Yeah.
Wrapped around it?
Yep, it's an ASIC
What is
trim that
an
we are.
It's like a composite.
Oh. I don't know, maybe it's the spacing, if there's something that.
Proportionately, it's a little off, I agree. But again, then you'd have to, because the lentil is not going out past, I mean, there's no, I mean, or the capital, the crown is not extending past the side of the casing, so it looks truncated.
Right, that's like a 3.5 trim right now. I mean, what we can do is we can bring it up to a 6-inch trim all around, and that will make it a substantial,
It's just
It's
that,
a
you know, I think
heavier-
the crown piece is not right in proportion with the top board. But again, those are details that I think that you are looking at.
Well, I think the other thing too is we're gonna be I mean, this is sort of the first of its generation on that street.
Mhm.
And there's probably gonna be some other things happening after this. I mean, if you guys are successful, I'm sure there's some other owners there that are gonna think, wow, they did it there, maybe we could do it here. So we wanna really get off on the right foot and, you know, have the best
Right.
looking finishes. And, you know, let's put some thought into the architecture. I
Right.
guess.
And that's, why I think we don't have any details of the windows and the trim around it. You didn't have any detailed pages on that, right?
no, we don't have.
So I think we need to see that, because that section of Camp Woods Road is a very mishmashy part right now, and you are going to set a precedent.
I mean, I think, is what's drawing your eye to that, just like sort of the negative space there?
I think so, a little bit, yeah, I mean, I'm really happy about the hardy plank, I think it's really improved.
I like it.
And,
Maybe the
the
side.
entrance for the apartments,
But I
but yeah.
think the void there, I think, I can, there's a statement about, you know, making that an element that cannot, I'm not sure that I would put something in that.
Oh, yeah,
Something.
no, I don't know if it's like even the way that they're laid out, I don't know if with the floor plan, you can even just adjust where they are.
I mean, you could, if you wanted to, put a bigger mullion between the two windows and then actually have planking between them. Again, there's plenty of room, you know, you're using, basically using 2 times 36-inch windows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have plenty of space on either side, according to plan.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to make a heftier mullion and actually create the planking in between. But that, again, I think might just interfere with having a bigger legend and a bigger capital. So the issue really is that I think you have to go back to look at how you really want to address the details around the window in connection with you know, the actual floor line and the massing of the rest of the building. I think that needs to be detailed, and I think you've gone to so much detail on this project, with both the interior and the massing elevation of the whole thing, and that little piece is gonna be very important.
I think in perspective, when you look at this, you'll follow these lights up and you'll kind of basically align that way, and then you sort of look here and like, maybe that's the thing that throws out.
I mean, it's interesting because the proportions on either side of the center is good. But then you get into the center, you have this massive piece in the middle, and you've got that little triangular light on top there. But it suddenly blows the sides out of proportion. So it's something about accentuating the windows, maybe taking them apart to have space between them, maybe doing something with that center, maybe doing something with your rentals and capitals. I don't have the answer, but I think you have to, address that a little bit more.
Okay.
Appreciate what
Yeah.
Kyle
You guys
Thank
have
you.
this.
I think it's important, because again, this is gonna be hopefully the first of many things that happen out there, so it's just important for us to get this right, going on, right out of the gate.
There's a lot going on at the street.
If you wanna wait and see, I can wait.
Anyone from the public talk to this application? Okay. All right. That being said, you want to give it another kind of turn of the crank,
Sure.
what we can do to kind of improve upon it?
Are we gonna want to bring the actual materials?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, should we have, maybe if you came back just for 5 minutes during our work session, so that, we go halfway through it and we say, go this, then you don't have to wait another whole month.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, that I
Really
think would
appreciate
be,
that.
Yeah, that's why as many things as we can do ahead of time, like again,
Yeah.
same rules apply, siding sample, roofing sample, any trim, just because it's
Yeah,
tangible, we
right.
see it.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
We'll get you the date
Right.
for the work session.
Thanks, Jim.
thank you.
Okay, so next is 12-9, 13 Market. This was a little wrong. I didn't want it to be sort of a waiver exemption. It was a little. Your name, sir?
David Graham, architect. Yeah, so this is on 13 Market Street. My client bought the house a couple of years ago and renovated the house. When they bought it, there was, at some point, there had been a roof on it, but when they bought it, there was no roof. So now that they've recovered from doing the first project, they wanted to do work on the detached garage. It's like 13 by 24, and it has existing masonry walls on 3 sides. Yep. And
Is it attached to this house? Or
no,
this
it's
house?
detached. It's on its own, floating.
No, but what I'm saying is it's the owner's.
Oh, it's the blue house,
The
on
blue
the
house.
left, yeah. So we're putting a gable roof, facing the street, and he's putting a overhead garage door, and we're matching the siding and the asphalt shingles and trim on the garage to the house.
The house had no roof for the roof?
It had a roof, but it had collapsed. And at the time that they bought the house, it wasn't there.
And the garage wasn't there, but the garage?
No, the garage was there.
So they just rebuilding the garage from?
Yeah,
They're not making the garage bigger or anything? It's-
sorry, what's that?
They're not making it bigger or anything?
No.
Were the cement walls there with the original garage?
Yeah, the walls were there.
They were.
That's what they,
Oh, I see.
that's what they bought.
They had a flat roof.
Yeah.
No, it didn't have any roof.
It didn't.
I'm assuming it was pitched, maybe it was flat, but there was no roof when they
There
bought.
was no roof. So, do we know whether this had actually gone through a previous approval process to be
Well, the house was built in the 30s, and the garage.
Yeah, but the garage was that
I
there?
don't think.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, here's what they bought. You know, the 3 walls,
But I think what Kai's saying is, were you ever in front of our board for BAR?
well, for the house.
Right, but not the garage
But the
itself.
No, because that was existing as it was. We weren't making any application for that until now.
So you-
Okay, it seems
All right.
odd. I don't-
So the plan
Yeah.
is you're gonna match the garage?
Yeah, we're gonna match the house, the siding on the house will be the siding on the gable ends. The asphalt shingle on the house will match it. The trim around the door and the window on the side is matching the trim. You know, and the rake, you know, well, we're just matching the house.
And you guys, this is a 2-family house now?
No, well, it's in a 2-family zone, but it's a 1-family house.
Anybody on the board care to speak to?
And board members, they'll have to go to the zoning board because they need a setback area variance.
Right,
So anything you do would have to be conditioned upon
Yeah.
that being granted.
it just, you know, from what I see from the pictures, it's hard to believe that has been there for a very long time, those walls, and that's why I'm trying to figure out
We
when.
can check from our end to see if
When
there was
that?
anything
When
about
were
that.
these walls put up?
Right, looks like freshly poured concrete.
It looks much fresher than it, yeah. it
Maybe
looks
they
fresh.
power washed it.
We
Yeah.
did look at the aerial photos. There
Okay.
was a garage there for a very long time,
Yeah.
going
Net
way back.
construction?
Oh, I see, so they had cinder block,
Yeah, but that's like, you know, it's terracotta actually. Yeah, but that's like.
they did,
oh,
okay,
This is kind of, you know, anyway, it's.
all right, so they had some, okay.
Yeah, I didn't trace the records, I just assumed it was built at the time of the house or at some point in the distant past.
So if we feel comfortable, we could approve this, but it's subject to the zoning board issuing whatever variances.
That would be correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an existing non-conforming wall structure, but because we're putting a new roof on it, we have to get it required 5 yards and the existing is .08, you know. So we have an application into the zoning board.
yeah, I mean, the only thing we have to ask is from the neighbors, I mean, that's gonna be an issue too.
Well, they average, it's.
I got that.
Which you can have, and the
That's what the
ZBA
zoning
would be,
board's gonna
and
do.
the ZBA would
They'll
have
be
to
taking care
advertise
of
as
that,
well.
yeah.
Anything's improvement over what exists now.
Regarding the
That's what
neighbors,
it's gonna say.
believe it or not, we're sending out 32 notices
Yes.
that we've sent for the BAR, and we're actually tomorrow sending out another 32.
Yeah.
So with that, anybody here from the public care to speak to this application? Okay. That being said, I think we can call for a motion.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion
Jeff?
to approve.
I second.
Okay, great, that's gonna get referred to the zoning board for obviously.
Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so that closes the BR aspect of the meeting. Start off with the planning board. We got 80 Main Street, 21-11.
Yep.
They're working on it. It's kind of working on it. We want that after we kind of give us an update. And we'll see.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen of the board. We are here, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times, good counting. And we brought here a new proposal that was different to, I'm sure you remember the deck proposal we had before. So there were some issues, and I think that we had a meeting where Mr. Stukahan was there, and Mr. Corp was there, and then owner of 60 Main Street was there too. And we came up with a solution. We ran it by the village engineer, we ran it by Tracy also, dealing with Tracy and Mr. Bastinelli. And it sort of reinstates somehow the previous condition, okay? So we are proposing, and it helps us, and it helps the neighbor downstairs. Why? Because we are proposing to build a wall on our side of the property. We are recuperating the yard that we lost with the collapse of the wall, except that the yard will be at the lower level. They're going to show some elevations, they're going to show some rendering for the road later. And so the condition is the same, except that the yard is lower. How does that help us? Because obviously we recoup the area that we lost, and having like a grass yard is somehow, you could say, more convenient and easier than a deck. Okay, it solves the problem of 60 Main Street, because if they decide in the future to build a wall, the wall will be a lot smaller. If they don't build a wall and they want to just excavate what is the debris of their property, okay, we will leave about 10 feet of our property and we will let them expose the rock and deal with that any way they want. We will cooperate with them. And if they don't want to do anything, okay, the situation is stable. In our property, in our lot, everything is stable, everything will stay. There's no erosion, there will be no danger. They can address the issue on their property anytime they want, okay? We have to provide a handicap ramp because the law says that we have a door here in the basement that was coming out to the yard, and the law says that anything that an able person should be able to do, a disabled person also has to be able to do. So we have to provide a ramp so a disabled person will be able to access that yard. The view now, obviously when we lower the yard, our yard was, as you can picture before, approximately at this level. Okay, now we're lowering the yard, and obviously we're exposing this wall. All this soil here is a soil that was subject to erosion, okay? So we are removing that soil, and we are filling up the yard here. And the wall that we are building, obviously we're putting a railing on that wall to prevent people from our yard, obviously, to fall. It's only 4 or 5 feet, but code requires that anything that is more than 2 feet has to have a railing. So we're providing a railing. And we're matching the stone that we have now presently on the wall. We'll continue with the same stone, matching the material, going all the way down. And this is, let's say, the final result. We had also added at the meeting that we had with Ms. Corbett and Mr. Agostinelli, a couple of changes to the site plan. We removed the handicap parking spot from here and we relocated here. Okay, Mrs. Corbett has suggested, which I think it was a good suggestion, to eliminate the driveway that goes to Main Street because it really was useless. Okay, so we put like a nice sidewalk there to access the property, and that allowed us to have one more parking spot than what we are required because we relocated the parking, as you can see in the shaded area there, okay, into that, let's say, useless driveway. I think the location of the handicap parking spot now is a lot better because it's much closer to the entrance of the building. And we don't have to modify any sidewalk in the back, anything that the other parking spot, that was the handicap parking spot, was sort of like intruding into the sidewalk. So we modified that, okay?
So is the driveway gonna stay, or are you actually gonna kind of close the wall here and fill that in, or?
Well,
It's
but
gonna
we,
be a
I'm sorry?
sidewalk, right?
We're building a sidewalk, yeah. We're gonna build a
That's
sidewalk,
Main Street.
we're building a sidewalk, right.
You see that? Well, there.
You can see it against the easterly property line.
Oh,
We are
that's
building
right.
the sidewalk.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
We're building a sidewalk. Okay, maybe, okay, we're thinking like, I think it would be nice if we put some planting and trees to just make it like a tree line.
The other
Okay,
half of the
driveway
Yeah.
on the other half. I think it would be nice, it would be like a nice pedestrian access,
Yeah.
people coming from Main Street, okay,
Are you
walking
going
up.
to continue then the
I'm-
existing retaining wall
sorry?
then? Are you gonna continue and add to the existing retaining wall in that section of the driveway that is not, no longer going to be driveway? So it's at 50
I
inch
don't-
pipe right there?
I'm not sure if I understand exactly where.
So there's an existing
Right.
wall, you're saying like almost like wrap it into this to kind of give it a
Yeah.
completed
Uh,
look?
No, we leave it open, so that's where people will be walking, will be like a boulevard, so will be the sidewalk and there's a stone wall there,
Sidewalk and then green.
And then
and there's
you
a
have-
driveway now, right. We keep the wall the way it is, we don't
Are you
touch
gonna
it.
keep the sidewalk, the same width as the current driveway?
No, they make the sidewalk 5 feet, there's no
Okay.
sidewalk there now.
I understand. So you're taking part of the old driveway to
Yeah,
make a
yeah,
sidewalk.
correct.
What is happening to the rest of that driveway up to the retaining wall?
That's where we are thinking in putting like plantings and put trees
Plans,
there.
but you're not putting any kind of retaining
No,
wall there?
no, there's no need for a
There's no
retaining
need.
wall.
That's
There's
what
no
I
need.
want- that's what
It's
I
flat,
wanted to know.
yeah.
It would literally
No,
be-
okay, now I understand your
Yeah.
question.
Leaning
No.
down to the sidewalk, so that's gotta get.
Yes,
Okay.
that is flat and there is no need for, there's
then-
nothing to retain there, right?
Okay.
And that's, so that's gotta find its way on the plan, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct.
I think that's a good,
Yeah.
compromise.
I think it's nice because you come from Main Street, now you're gonna see all the planting, you're gonna see the walkway, and the cars are gonna come as they did before, okay, through the state road and come into the park, okay? I think the solution helps, like, everybody. It's not cheap, okay? But let's say, at one point, we have to stop the bleeding. Really, it's been 10 months, okay, at $40,000 a month plus $2 million in losses of the building is, at one point, we have to really stop the bleeding, so
Well,
it's a bite the bullet and
Just,
do it.
we, believe me, we understand, we try to have
I appreciate
try to
it.
accommodate you guys in February, and, after further discussions with our village engineer.
And
we're
it's no,
concerned
and
about
it's no, and it's
safety.
no that,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that is
Yeah.
your fault.
And again, we're concerned.
It just happened.
I think this rests with the village engineer, there's a lot of concerns about the safety of the whole site, and, the integrity of the slope, and,
Right.
joining parking lot, and, just one concern or one thought is, again, if you've got all this work going on, and you've got materials being brought in, equipment being stored there, to have that occupied and having tenants park here while you're also doing work, that's a concern too. And again, it probably could be thought
Well,
through, but.
let's say that two separate issues, okay? One issue is the issue of this, which I believe from my meeting with the village engineer, with Mr. Agostinelli and with Corbett, I think that everybody's happy with the solution in terms of stabilizing the property and working. Please correct me if I'm wrong, okay? In the issue of the occupancy is a different issue, okay? I build a lot in New York City, and we build buildings next to buildings. I just changed 35-story buildings, all the windows and the facade, and okay, no one single apartment was moved. Mrs. Mike Larenson knows me for like 20-something years, and she knows I have worked on tenants in place and buildings at HPD, and there hasn't been in 20-something years one single accident. So I know how to do that. It can be done, okay? I can fence out all the areas. There's a big area on the left-hand side, on the southerly side of the property where material can be staged. And this wall here, once you excavate, you pour this wall, we pour buildings in 12-story with pumps,
Right,
and
well, fortunately.
it can be done.
Fortunately, the building bears on bedrock, so.
Yeah,
thank God for
that's not a problem.
And my personal feeling is I'm pleased with what's here now. I
I think-
think this latest, version is better than what we were gonna probably,
Much
certainly
better.
think about improving.
Much better.
So, myself personally, I'm fine with that, but I just, would want our village engineer to kind of give us the sign off. Again, unfortunately, you had this wall collapse, and, now we have to really think, let's, safety first, and, we're.
Right, well, I think that we achieved that. I think that we proved, and I asked Mrs. Corbett if there is any comment, okay, from the village engineer, please let me have it so we can address it now. I don't think he had concerns. I think he was happy with the solution when I met with him. Okay, I really would like to have a vote on this today so we can move on.
I'll give the board an opportunity to kind of speak to the
I
application.
have a question.
Yes,
on
please.
Section and details, cross-section BB and CC. Which is really
BB
what-
and CC?
BB and CC, AA, BB, CC, that page,
CC.
line number 5. Because here we're looking at how you are tying into the bedrock for the wall that you're gonna put up, which is gonna be supporting the railing, which is gonna be supporting
Yes, section,
everything.
section.
Right.
Okay, section BB and CC here.
Yeah, so my question,
Yeah.
first question to this is, where in this section is your property line to the, to 60 Main? If you look at that section,
Yes, let me look at that section.
where, we're looking at cross section. This one here, cross section, this one.
Brian, you have the section there. Yeah.
The dark black.
Cross section, BB and CC. Okay, the property line,
PL, the
yeah,
property line
you
is
see where it says
PL.
PL here?
He's giving it to you now.
That's where the property line
Right,
is.
okay.
In both sections the same.
Right, and do we know for sure that the representation here of where the approximate hard rock line is, that it really goes this steeply down before it hits the next, the 60 Main Street property line?
Thank you very much.
In other words,
Yes, we
do
hire.
you have the, you have most of the high rock?
Yeah.
They have the lower rock?
Yeah, we hired CC Engineering.
Yeah,
They came to the site a couple of times. Obviously, you understand, for example, where the section is here, and you understand rock, and obviously rock moves, okay? So what we are going to do is, we estimated where the section is because we excavated there, but during the process of the excavation, Ceci will be here, okay, will be at the site, okay, with us, and we are going to determine the type of rock found at different sections, because you may find bedrock here and over there, the rock is completely different. And obviously, we cannot have infinite number of sections through the site.
right.
So we did an estimation of where the rock is. They came, they tested the site, and they're going to be present while we build to assure that that is a rock we are going to pin the
So
pins.
you're basically, on an average, you're gonna say you're gonna have 2-foot rock shear connectors anywhere you hit rock.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you take
right.
it on a level like this and you're 3 feet down to here, it means you're gonna go 5 feet, because you're gonna go 2 foot into the
Correct,
rock.
correct.
Okay, so
Correct.
that is that's what.
But hold on a second, I'm gonna let Brian comment on that. Go ahead, Brian, you wanna say something?
Yes, the plan just illustrates.
Brian Broker is the
Uh,
name, sir.
Brian Brooker, professional engineer, I prepared the design for the walls. The plan is, we don't know exactly where the rock is. So we have a plan for if the rock slopes in the direction towards the river, that we step the footings, that's the point of that, that thing. If, in fact, the rock is flat, then the footing will thin out and be flat also. I'm not going to take out perfectly good rock just to put it deeper into the rock. It'll be on the good rock, pinned in. So we estimated that there's probably some relief to that rock face, and that's why I showed it the way I did, because it's the worst case scenario. It's probably flatter than that. It could be steeper, but we don't think
I
so.
mean, it also goes in 2 directions, right? So towards
Yes, it
Main
does.
Street, you have a slope, and towards the river, you have a slope. So whatever your high point is, that's where
Right.
you're gonna say, you're gonna have the 2-foot connectors into the highest point of the rock, and then it will level out to that, no matter where you are.
Right.
Right, that's what he's showing here,
Yeah.
let's say the worst case scenario.
Right.
Okay, obviously if it gets better. it
We
gets
have a
better.
straight line, obviously the rock probably
Yeah.
goes in various ways. I did chip it out to make steps instead of allowing it to be just a sheer plane in the direction of
All
the-
these being on the same
Right.
plane. and-
Yeah, I wanted it to be solid on the rock. we do have the advantage that we did excavate the entire length of the building to put the building on rock. So we know where the rock elevation was there. We are now 15 feet away from that location. And we're projecting approximately a 3.5 foot drop in the rock elevation is possible.
Towards the river and how
Towards
much
the river.
Right, actually, we have
Well, the
pictures.
other was fairly flat at that
It's fairly
section.
flat at that.
There was a cleave, there was an area where it dipped, but it came back up.
Okay, yeah.
So actually, we have pictures of, you see the hill, and where we did the rock, and this is the foundation of the building coming to rock. So, let's say we could say that we are familiar, okay, with the site and the conditions. But Mother Nature is Mother Nature, and obviously things, topography changes, okay? So we assume worst case scenario, and if we find something better, obviously, that would be great.
And the integrity of the parking lot where, because I know there's the old section of wall there,
Yeah,
which is
that's
sort of to the north of what you constructed.
correct.
Have we done any kind of study of that?
Yes,
or, you
yes.
know,
And that's why we
certifying
are,
that that's stable?
yes. This part here, which is the only part that Mr. Agostinelli had a concern, okay, we're also building a retaining wall that will come down on a slope, following the slope of the site, okay? So this retaining wall will alleviate any type of concern that, of erosion that could happen in this corner of the parking lot.
And that would also be to the similar effect?
It's identical, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, that will be, if you look at that, that is section GG, FF, and EE. Those are the sections addressing that part of the wall, which is different than this wall, obviously. But the anchorage to the rock is the same.
I have a last
Yes.
question. How much of the existing foundation facing the river is going to be exposed at this point when you have everything done?
Calculate up another 10 feet,
Another 10 feet.
yeah, give or take.
So you will have how much left on the ground?
You mean in
You
here?
have another 10 feet below ground? I mean,
We are about,
Approximately
yeah,
10
approximately 10 feet below, yeah, correct.
So as it exists now, we're gonna see another 10 feet of
Of-
exposed foundation
Which I'm matching,
that will be
yes,
treated with that.
the same stone,
Is
correct.
that a veneer or is that gonna be?
No, well, it's a stone, it's real stone, but it's stone veneer, yeah. Yeah, but it's stone, it's not synthetic, it's stone. Yeah, and we are
One
gonna
thing-
use exactly the same stuff.
I will point out that the edge of that wall with the railing on the top is gonna cut off your view of that extra stone, because from the street being so far below, your view is up.
Yeah,
And so the flat section won't be visible. You'll probably lose about, I'm gonna say, 4 feet of the
3, 4
bottom.
feet about, yeah.
Yeah, of that stone. So it'll, instead of appearing 10 feet additional height, probably appear something like 6 feet additional height.
Right, you're looking at 50 feet above you, so,
You know, the other,
and the other amount of, you have how much, what are you doing with the land, the grade beyond? Are you grading it down slopey? Are you going to plant
This-
that
this
section?
grade?
No, beyond, going
Below
south,
wall.
between you and the neighbor.
between this,
That's right, that
well,
area.
depending what they wanna do. Okay, if they want,
that's a.
if they say, well, we don't wanna build a wall, okay, well, we will expose the rock, and we will leave the rock exposed, okay? If they say, well, we're gonna build a wall, okay, we're gonna build a wall, then we are going to fill, because he has enough fill here, okay, so for him it's better throw it on our side as opposed to take it away, so, and then we're gonna plant grass. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. It's a solution that really helps everybody and gives the flexibility to everybody to at any time do whatever needs to be done.
This relates to the question I have. You have on the property line on your plans a chain link fence across the property line?
No, we have here,
You have on your plans
no, we have it on the wall.
proposed
Here.
No, we have it on,
6 foot high
we have it
chain
on the
link
property
fence.
line.
Here, there is a property here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be on the.
There is not there anymore.
What's that?
There is not there anymore.
No, but you're proposing.
But
chain
Mr.
link.
Corp wanted that chain link just in case somebody falls and they don't want to fall into
I guess
the property.
my question is, if the if that property, if they do nothing,
Yes,
you're putting the chain link, you're putting a fence there because you don't know
because
what
he
they're
asked
gonna
me
do.
though. Because he asked
Does
me.
it have to be chain, I guess my point is, does it have to be chain link? Because I think that you've got this building now, we're
My
exposing more of it.
preference, no. My preference will be that aesthetically, I'd rather not do that.
Aesthetically, I think the chain
I
link fence
agree with you 100%.
kind of ruins it at the bottom.
I agree with you 100%. Aesthetically,
Can we put a different kind of fence there? I know that you're anticipating that they'll want to do something with that property, but if they don't do anything and
well,
we end up
tell you
having
what it
this
is.
for
I tell you what it
20
is.
years,
I'm
30
gonna be
years.
completely honest with you, okay? I asked Mr. Corp for a price of the property. I said, I want to buy the property. I think we can build a couple of nice townhouses there, okay? I think that we'll get rid of an eyesore, which is that plan, okay? And he came with like $1 million. He's getting $3,700 a month for rent in that property, and he wanted $1 million for the property. I said, listen, I'm gonna clean up all this mess that is there. We
We hear what you're saying, but like, we're here to talk about the site plan, architectural issues. I appreciate your business, you know.
No, what I'm saying
entanglement
is
there.
that if I can buy the
can't-
property, I wouldn't put the chain link fence
Right.
at all. I would do something nicer, I would do something better.
So what I think Mr. Gasparro is saying is if you can come back with something, you know, obviously you have a bigger long-term plan, which is great, but if you can come back with something that could soften up, you know, because you're obviously spending a lot of money and effort, and again, I'm personally pleased with what you're presenting here. I think
I'm
it's
pleased
better
with
than
everything, and
catwalk.
I can even approve what we have here, just subject to a different.
And I
fence.
appreciate that, but I don't wanna lie to you. I don't wanna spend, okay, another, $50,000-$60,000 on a fence there, that they tomorrow come and they say, we're gonna clean our site, and that fence basically goes down the drain. So I thought that now, to divide both properties, okay, I think chain link fence will be more appropriate. Now, if Mr. Cork says, well, you know what, now you don't have the deck, I don't have a problem, nobody's gonna fall in my property, don't put the chain link fence, then I'd rather put nothing, okay, and see what they are doing with the property.
Yeah,
But
that
throwing
means
it,
we don't know when this is,
No,
nobody has
I
a
don't know
crystal
that.
ball,
No.
right? So this chain link fence can be there for the next 30 years if.
I hope not.
No, I hope not, right? But if it's the code and everything has happened, then it could be there. Of course, we don't know. But the question is, if we say yes to this today, we can't come back and say to you later,
well, what about
20
if I
years
remove
ago,
the chain link fence? I
5
mean,
years down the
okay.
line,
I'm
10 years
almost
down the
there
line.
there is no use for the chain link fence now because there is no danger
I'd
in
rather have
anybody
no
falling.
fence.
Yeah, I'd rather
So
not.
what about if I
Yeah.
say, and I agree with you, we eliminate the chain
And
link
then the
fence?
applicant always can come into the building department.
Yeah.
If he needs to get a permit to do
And get a permit and put a fence, yes, or on a railing or whatever it is. Yeah,
If there are no liability issues?
no.
Then. Yeah.
And I guess
I
my
mean,
point is,
nobody can fall anywhere there now. Everything there is in the angular response and everything there is flat. So there is no liability issue anymore.
And there's no issue for you to accept or approve for them to tie into your bedrock if they want to put a wall in, right?
No, there is no issue for me.
Okay, good, because that's why the wall is fallen, because there was no coordination between the previous owner and the old owner to actually tie in.
Remember, the lower parcel was actually the one that put up that retaining wall.
That's right, and
Yeah.
they did not ask
No.
to have it, so it's
And
like.
truthfully, this looks, I think, my opinion.
Well, we are not, I don't know. We are not gonna go now in why to the wall
No.
fell, right? I don't think that
No,
you
no,
wanna
no,
hear
no,
that now.
No, we don't, we're not.
Okay.
What I was saying is that we just sort of want to make sure that we are not putting ourselves up against the wall in making these approvals.
Yeah, you're
We
correct.
know that there is actually, that this is the first step of something that's improving. And I agree
Yes.
with Jeff that we should not approve putting up a chain link fence unless there is really a need for it.
And I appreciate that, and you save me money that I think that is thrown into bad use because.
Unless there's a specific code requirement.
Right.
Well, then that's.
No, no, we
that-
defer to
that's
Paul
right.
or-
That's
Then-
right.
then we-
There
that-
is.
that
I
would
mean-
be the only
We
other-
have to defer to that.
Right.
but-
If there is a
Mike-
code requirement, I'll do it, but
Michael
I
had a
don't think.
question on, I think, something
Can I
related.
see the rendering one more time? I
Sure,
just-
sure, Mike.
Just wanted a few more details about the actual open space in terms of, is it grass, is it
Grass,
pavers?
it's grass,
just-
it's grass.
it's
No,
just
grass.
And
It's
so,
just grass.
how will the residents be able to use that property? in terms of?
But there is, that's what I said before, there is a door here,
Right,
okay, that comes into the ramp,
okay.
okay? And obviously, I have to put a ramp because it's the law.
Right. The
Okay, a
ramp
person
is-
in a wheelchair has to
How
be,
steep is that ramp from on a
it's legal,
wheelchair?
it's 118, it's ADA compliant.
Okay.
You have it on that.
I don't have a choice on
Right, you're
that.
getting to that internally through the building.
Right, no,
Yeah.
that, I actually meant in terms of how do they use it, so it's just going to be, how wide a grassy
It's
area?
ADA compliance, okay?
No,
It's a
I
ramp.
mean,
the
the
Grassy
actual,
area, how wide is it?
the terrace
Oh, how
area.
wide?
Yeah,
It's like
how
a
wide
The
is,
grassy area, the grassy area is about 11 feet.
so residents, I mean, there won't be tables or chairs?
Well, they can do whatever they want, they can
But
put
they can
tables, they
use
can
it.
put chairs, they can
Are there
put,
plantings or?
yeah, no, there is gonna be planting, flowers, seasonal
Okay,
things like that, yeah.
and
yeah.
then what did you say the drop was now that it's on this lower, the drop to below?
From here,
Yeah. I mean, the concern to the property below is now,
well, you have it on the section here, where is the section?
okay.
Right there.
oh,
Oh, here, there you
Yeah.
see, there you see how the property slopes.
Right,
Okay, there you
okay.
see, that will be the wall where the railing is,
Right.
okay? So it varies, you see that depending on the contour of the property, it varies from 4 feet to 10 feet.
And that's a wrought iron fence or?
No, that, yes, the fence on the,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And that beige looking stone that is on the
That's
rendering, this is
behind,
all-
Right.
yes,
all
that's
this.
behind that one,
Right,
correct.
but as, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but some of
Brian.
this won't be visible if we're below and we're looking up, some of this won't be visible because of.
Well,
the
when you are,
terrace.
when you're at the street level, you are like 50 feet below that,
Mhm.
so that platform that we are building, the
Right.
landscape area, will block almost like 90% of that stone wall. Now, if you come in a helicopter, yeah, you see it, obviously.
No, I do think it's a great improvement, yeah.
Thank you. So can I
Anybody
get,
else?
so can I get an approval today, please?
Anyone else on the board?
Because of the engineer.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
do that. Anyone here from the public to speak to this application? If you can, please come up and tell us your name and
Hi, my name is Kutsia. This is one of the beautiful place in Ossining, and all the seniors actually is
Are
waiting
you
for
the lady
this
who called me on the phone and
You go.
sent me messages?
You go,
thing.
you go, let her talk.
Yeah.
There's no
I just
Bible.
wouldn't meet her.
You
You
go.
know how many times she
Please.
called
You
me?
go, please.
Speak to the board.
This is one of, as I said, this is one of the beautiful place in Ossining that makes Ossining a better place to live. And all the seniors actually is waiting for this complex to, for the occupancy, so hopefully, everybody's waiting for this place. And,
Nice meeting you.
nice meeting you. Yes, so I've been calling this gentleman, bothering him to see what the outcome is.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you. Do you, subject to the approval, how long would this take to construct? I mean, you
The
get your
construction,
approval.
we estimate that the construction of this will take approximately, as we were discussing with Brian today, methodologies and everything, I would say, depending on the weather, I would say 60 days. Most of the work is, let's say, excavation. Okay, the pouring of the wall, it takes 2 days. I mean, you bring 2 trucks and you pour in one day one side the other one, and you're done. Okay, that's very fast. The excavation and also depending, okay, on Mr. Cork's willingness to let us work from below. If we can work from below, we can do this a lot faster. If we have to work from the top, we have to build a ramp. Obviously, that will delay the job. If Mr. Cork allows us to build this from the bottom, we can build this in 30 days.
Okay, so we'll resume questions from the audience.
Yeah.
Sorry, are you talking about occupancy?
No, they're just talking about doing the work.
No, doing the work.
Before occupancy.
Yes.
Sir?
Yeah, good evening. My name is Robert Corky. I'm the attorney for the owner, Armando Holman. He's here with me this evening. His wife's here as well. I think that this is a big improvement over the prior submission, and I appreciate your taking into consideration the comments that we made at our meeting. There were a number of things that were attributed to me that I said, or I don't recall them exactly that way, but that's neither here nor there. Certain statements were made as to what is to the benefit of my client at 60 Main Street. This is the first time we're seeing this. I would like the opportunity to have the plans submitted to our consulting engineers, to have a brief look at it and be ready at the next meeting to make comment. There are some statements made that I'm not sure they're correct, but I'm not the engineer, and I really would like to have our engineers have that opportunity. That I think is extremely important in this matter. I would also, and Mr. Khan, you tell me if I'm wrong here, I would ask the board to refrain from any statements regarding why that wall collapsed. You may know that the village is a defendant in a lawsuit today regarding the collapse of that wall.
I don't think anyone said why.
Okay, maybe it's my hearing. I'm just going to say that I think it's better for all involved that I'm not deposing you,
So
a year from now.
let's keep moving this forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, we get it.
Okay, good. So that would be my request, that we have the opportunity to review the plan before any determination is made. It does impact our property, so I'm not sure exactly what was being presented. I'm sure maybe an engineer could tell me what it is. I personally do not know, but this has been a long step to get to this spot, and I don't think we need to rush into it. There are questions that, and I know that we're going to come up with us regarding related to erosion and drainage that our engineer will be able to help us with. So I don't want to make any comment, positive or negative, about it. It may be the best thing since sliced bread, but I'd like to have the opportunity to have our engineers take a look before the determination is made. And if I can get those plans, I'll forward them right away to our
The
consulting
plans
engineers.
have been online.
I'm sure they have it. I don't have them. I'm just all I'm asking, that they do that. I'm here tonight. It's on the agenda, and that's what I'm asking, that we see that. I hear what they're saying. So that it's a process. We met with your team, I guess, 4 months ago, 3 months ago? And we didn't get a response back to today, when I'm hearing it here. Had we seen it before, we'd be able to comment for this meeting. We weren't given those plans.
The plans are online.
I'm not done.
The agenda on the village website, Danny posts them.
I'm sure they are.
They're there.
I'm sure they are. I'm not questioning that at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we would like that opportunity to review them. We haven't had that opportunity. Could have been provided, but we wasn't.
No, they're provided to the public. When the agenda's posted
I'm not gonna
online,
argue
for
with
the
that.
meeting, the plans are available.
You said it, I've said
Yeah,
it.
let's-
My request
let's-
is,
Let's keep moving this forward.
Or you keep saying if you can get the plans, the plans are there.
my
they've been
request
there.
is that our engineer have opportunity to review and get back to you at the next meeting. That's a straightforward request.
Based on that, and I appreciate your comments, I appreciate that you like the work, but also I can tell you that this idea, okay, replicates exactly, and it was proposed by Mr. Cork's engineer on a drawing that we had at a meeting that I brought, and he did, and this is the exact drawing that your engineer drew, and this is exactly what we have done. This, you don't have to be an engineer, you know that this is exactly what he proposed, and he drew it. And we replicated this here. Also, I like,
Mr. Subotovsky, just one thing. I know you responded to Mr. Corky, but that's.
No, I'm
we-
responding
we
to
want-
the-
We want to see if there are other people in the public who have something
no,
to
no,
say.
I have one more thing to say.
Please, just one
Please.
thing quickly, because
Quickly.
we got other people.
One more thing to say.
Yeah.
We are in the summer. We have big rains in the summer. I don't want to expose, okay? If there is an issue, and was an issue of concern about erosion in that corner of the parking lot, okay? I don't want to have to come back here then with another site plan to reveal the corner of the parking lot because there was no rock there and the erosion made that corner of the parking lot. That is a concern for everybody collapse. So it's a concern or it's not a concern. If it's not a concern, let me occupy the building. If it's a concern, then let me move ahead with my plans. And I shut up. I
Anyone
promise
else,
you.
anyone else here to speak to this application?
Just one question. Are you gonna hurt all the dirt from the north side and south side?
Yeah, you what?
All the dirt? This over here. Are you gonna hold this dirt in?
Is that here?
Yeah.
We are building a retaining wall there. coming down, on the way down. You can see here.
And the drainage, are you going to do the drainage?
The drainage is the same as before. The drainage, actually the drainage now, okay, when we build the building, you have less water coming into your wall than you had before. Because before you have all the water going to your property. Now all the roof area of our property drains into our catch basins.
Wasn't like that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I mean, some of the things I'm hearing, I think, probably were addressed months ago, but, it might be beneficial. I think the board's feeling better about what we're seeing, but, I mean, again, speaking for myself, I want our village engineer to be okay with this. I think maybe what's appropriate is another meeting with yourself and the engineers. I mean, I think there's a comfort level now with, what's been proposed. It's just that we need to really have our village engineer.
I appreciate what you said, but with all due respect, okay? I placed 3 calls into the village engineer, okay, to make sure that he was okay with what we presented after we discussed it with him. I sent an email to Mrs. Corby, okay, a week ago, and asked her, please, can you tell me so I can address the issues at the meeting and I don't waste another month? We wasted 10 months already. And I think I am due the respect of having a response. Mrs. Corby, she's excellent. She's answering my questions, my calls, my emails right away. And she said to me, I'm going to have a meeting with the village engineer and I'm going to see what type of comments he had. I heard nothing.
Well,
Do I have to wait another month to come here? Do I have to wait another month here for this?
Hold that thought for a second. I know the village engineer's been also doubling as the
Yes, he is.
the village manager
I,
for the last few
we've had
weeks.
correspondence, but I have not heard a definite reply on.
I think it's imperative that, Paul get back to Mr. Spitosky so that we can move this along. I think some good things came out of tonight. I like the whole idea of the sidewalk coming in and closing off the kind of the inadequate driveway and addressing that.
All her credits.
Those were the requests of planning and the building
Yeah.
department to deal with the parking situation because by moving some of the parking,
Yeah.
he had to provide more parking and it just wasn't working, and also that driveway.
Right.
So when you met with the village engineer, did Paul say anything to you?
I actually have not met with the village
Okay.
engineer. I've sent him the plans, but he is very busy right now. He has been
Right.
doubling as village manager over the last month, so.
So he could have seen it or he could not have seen it yet, we don't know that.
He saw them because he met with me.
And
And
again,
with
if
Mr.
we're gonna have,
Agostinelli.
if we're gonna have work sessions, this would be an opportunity
Right.
to look at this 2 weeks ago, to sort of move this along. I mean, I know we're gonna have one next month, so, I'm
Yes.
hoping that we can kind of keep this moving along at a decent pace so we can get this thing done.
Is it Joe Haspel, counsel for the applicant, is it possible to get an approval subject to a village engineer's veto power if there's a problem? Because at this point in time, every month is killing, is really killing. And we're not looking to get away with something without the village engineer giving you the warm and fuzzy feeling that you want, but we also don't have the ability
Yeah.
to wait.
Right,
What-
actually,
what's your point?
I was just gonna ask Stuart for his
Yeah, what do you think about it?
advice.
You could put in a provision that it is conditioned upon by the sign-off by the village engineer, and that if he requires any changes to the site plan, the applicant must return to this board.
correct.
That would be
That would be
that-
perfect.
That can be done.
That could be perfect.
Uh,
Not only that,
Yeah, I mean, look,
Mr. Cahan, also, we have to submit for a building permit for the water.
No,
So,
I
right, so-
understand. I just want to raise.
There is time.
I just want to raise one thing. It's not on the agenda, but clearly there's going to be a BAR application because we are looking at a different picture in terms of that. So at some point, you're going to have to come to the board
Right.
in terms of what what your actual outside's going to be, because we haven't seen that.
right, we kind of looked at BR because,
We have-
but it is,
but-
this is really a site plan.
But in terms of the
Site
specific
plan.
thing that Mr. Haspel's asked, the revision to the site plan could be conditioned upon a sign-off by the village engineer, and if he is okay with it, then you got your site plan
Perfect.
resolution. If not, then they would come back.
Then we have
with
to
other
address
changes.
them, we have to
Well,
address the issues.
to the
Yeah.
extent that the board is able to get the village engineer to leave his duties as.
You will by the 1st of June.
I mean, it's just,
Okay.
and as this is slowing, when this was started, there was an issue with being able to at least have partial occupancy. It seems as if the building inspector changed his mind with respect to allowing occupancy, allowing partial, a temporary C of O pending site plan approval and completion of the site plan. We don't think that that's necessary. I think Mr. Subotovsky mentioned this before, and to the extent that this board has the ability to speak to the building inspector to determine whether there's a current health and safety issue in its current state, and to be able to address that if there is, to get immediate occupancy, we would appreciate it.
Well, he's not here to speak to that.
No, and let me just say this, I don't completely agree with what Mr. Haspel said. I would simply say this, as to the issue of a partial certificate of occupancy, which our code does permit, it specifically requires the building inspector to make a determination as to the health and safety of the location. We're not dealing with floors in a building, we're dealing with the actual location and what will be safe for those individuals.
Right.
That's a determination by the building inspector, it doesn't directly come before this board.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is that it will be a matter of discussion with Building Inspector Agostinelli, Mr. Subotovsky, to determine if in fact he can issue that at this point.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
That's what it will be.
Let me, for your knowledge, Con Edison sent us a letter and cut the gas of the building. I don't know if you know that. Because they went and they saw the placard, they cut the gas, now they send us a letter that they're gonna cut the electricity. So we got the gas cut off and we got $350,000 in damage in the winter. We used to call me and you know that happened. If they cut the electricity now of the building, we have no air conditioning, now the building is gonna be molded because of the
All right,
humidity. We have problems. We have problems that
We understand
that we have to
the
address.
severity of the situation.
But as
so-
for the site plan issue, as I said, that there can be a condition to put into it.
And that will help us a lot.
I'm sorry, just what would be the timing? So a site plan approval conditional upon
What
the
I would-
engineer's report, and then the bar.
And then they would have to come back to you folks for BAR.
Yes.
But what I'd like to do, hopefully, is have, if Paul has any comments, we'd have them before our work session,
Yes.
so that if they need to come back, they can come back at the work session, if need be. But if not, we can, we'll just have it from there, but I can certainly prepare the resolution with that. But, and they would have to then subsequently submit for a BAR application for what they're planning to do on the outside.
Right. That being said, and Stuart's got a few good points there to incorporate in the motion. What's the board's kind of feeling about this? We move ahead subject to
Yeah, I think
the
we
engineering?
should,
Okay.
with those conditions, yeah.
Okay. I'll call for a motion with Stuart's conditions.
And we're also conditioning this on removal of the chain link fence.
Yeah.
Chain link
From the
fence.
Gladly.
We're gonna wanna see the, the sidewalk improvement from Main Street and the planting. That detail's gonna find its way on the plan, next month or
Yeah, when I come from ARB, I bring those details.
Right. Jeff made the motion, second?
I second that.
Jesus, all in favor?
All in favor?
Motion carried.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, 49 Spring Street, planning board 10-17.
Good night.
Good night, Matt.
Right.
We've had this one before.
Yeah.
I thought we had
We didn't have
it.
any
Last time we did segment, yeah.
And just so the board is aware, the zoning board did grant the variance with regard to the buffer. So that's why it's
Oh,
now
so
back
that
to
is
you for
actually, that's
consideration.
why it's, okay.
Oh, yeah, we have submitted this one.
Yeah, so that
So
variance,
that is-
that
that is,
variance was granted, the resolution will be signed at the next ZBA meeting.
Okay.
Jimmy?
Good evening.
Good evening.
As Mr. Stewart said, we were in front of the board back in March, with the board.
Was it March?
And March or February?
February?
Yeah. And at the time, I think the board was ready to approve the project, but we needed to go back to zoning. We needed a variance. there was no zoning meeting in April, so we just went now in May to zoning, and we received the approval for the variance for the setback from the aqueducts. So now we are 8 foot from the aqueduct where we're going to be, supposed to be 25.
And
So
when we
got
talk
that
about the
variance.
aqueduct, it's the rear of the building, not
The rear of the building, yes.
actual aqueduct that runs through
Right.
Spring Street.
Right, so it's the,
I think that's the subject of dispute.
yes.
It's a
We
different
spent
opinion, yeah.
Yes, it's been a year of discussion. So now I think we're looking for your board is to have the site plan approval, and also, as we discussed back in March, with the waiver. We'll have a parking waiver from the board. So I think,
You know, one of the things we did talk about a couple months back was sort of a kind of, you know, a deeper dive into the parking challenges. I mean, we talked about, you know, maybe you guys studying the, you know, surrounding lots and kind of giving us a sense of, you know, why it's not working, or it is working, or, I mean, because sooner or later we're going to have to deal with this parking challenge, kind of, this
Right.
variance
Well,
level that's sort
this-
of been floating around.
this
forever.
goes back to the same argument that we had with the zoning, that there are 2 public parking spaces, and due to the size and location of the lot, there is in front of our lot, there is a striped area, so there is no, a curb cut is not possible there. It's adjacent to the bus stop, so the whole front of the lot is striped, there's no parking zone right now. So to put a curb cut there was gonna be almost, it is almost impossible. And,
They had no place to park anyway.
You have a lot across the street, don't you?
yes, and we show that there's a lot across the street, there are 2 lots across, you know. One is by St. Paul's Place, and the other one is in front of the post office.
There's also a proposal which will be, I think, presented, actually will go through the clerk's office, to expand overnight parking on St. Paul's and Academy, so, which we don't have now.
Right.
So that will hopefully
Yeah,
happen.
and again, the discussion a few months back was for you guys to sort of flush out some of these ideas, because, you know, you're gonna be dealing with this.
Right.
Yeah, I went
To
to
know if it's gonna work or
the
not
the
work.
clerk office also regarding the permits available. It says always got permits available. That time, I don't know how many, but she told me like about 100 and change, 200. So depend 2 months later, how many, I have to go there again maybe, but always like in and out parking comes in and out people. It's always available
Right, the whole
parking.
discussion about, you know,
Right.
parking, a space gets used multiple times during the day. It's not, you
Right.
know, 9 to 5 or.
Right. Correct.
6 to, you know, 6 overnight kind of thing.
Right.
Okay. Continue on.
Well, like I said, we have the public parking, we did look into tag parking. Mr. Silva looked into acquiring tags for all the tenants, but at this point, until we don't start the building, they told us there were plenty of them, like he said, available, so there is a whole discussion about how to deal with future parking in downtown. We've been partaking in that as well. Again, reasons why we could not provide parking on this lot. It goes to, I think there's a photo. The existing site is, due to the proximity to the bus stop and the activity there is no, we don't see being able to put a curb cut. Again, that, being the type parking and being so close, so the proximity to the public parking, we felt there was enough to obtain the waiver.
Okay, so site plan, we're talking about, how the building's gonna sit. Any other issues that we kind of had any thoughts on? Look at the alleyway down the side there.
And we did demonstrate this in the zoning, it may look like the second floor is bigger, it's just the way the drawing is set up, is the same size. The footprint is, we still, second and third floor is still 8 feet away from the property line.
So on any of these plans, do you show any of the trees? There's a couple of trees on the public side, on the other side of the property line, which are quite big and very close to the property.
On the aqueduct side?
No, on the bus stop side.
The bus stop side, okay.
Fairly large trees. There's a couple of conifers at least, and they are at least no less than 4 feet from the property line. And we know that that root structure will go very far in. So how are you going to deal with preservation of trees that are not on your property?
Well, there's tree protection that we provide during construction.
No, I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about tree protection around the trunk. I'm talking about roots.
In the bigger pictures, I guess we want to see some greenery, if there's a way that we can introduce some greenery. I don't know if you can.
I mean, I'm just saying, there's gonna be major trees that are not on your property, but totally smack up against the property, that are going to be in danger with excavation, so.
No, those trees are within the property. The property goes beyond the chain link fence.
What about?
No, that tree, right where you have the arrow, that's what.
Those pine trees in the back are part of your property?
Yeah.
Okay.
How about this red?
No, that's far away. There is no.
This is with the lady with the pink shirt, that's very much the property line.
That's where the property line is.
Yeah. So between the trees, the pines they have to be
Okay,
removed.
so that tree that's close to the fence is on your property?
Yes.
The pines.
Yeah.
The pines they have to be relocated or removed or any place else.
Right, so in terms of, if we scroll, can you just swing back so we look at the straight front?
The other thought is
that tree there will go, right?
Yes.
The pines they have to be removed, yes.
That will be removed, and where the break is in the sidewalk, that's about where your property line is?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe there's an opportunity to introduce some street level trees.
Yeah. I mean,
We have the trees going down the street.
Right. Yeah, there would be more to be done, yeah.
That would help soften it up. I guess is there any potential for this parcel south of your building to never get developed?
It's village property.
No.
It's village, yeah. And I mean, that tree, I mean, do we know from,
It's not mapped.
that tree is not gonna be in danger, that,
No, that's not.
That we don't know. We did have the village arborist in to check the trees in the aqueduct.
right.
And in fact, there were trees that have been taken down in that area recently.
I got one in one tree, the bigger one you see, that's inside my property, I have to be out because it's all rotten, it's all bad.
Well, yeah, the oak
Yeah,
in
the
the
big
back.
one. The rest is all
Right,
shrubs, there's nothing as trees in there in the
right,
back.
no, there's nothing much there. I was
No,
there
the
other day. It
pines,
was
my
behind
idea,
me.
if he's able to, if a machine can take the ball from the bottom, relocate it somewhere where the parking, the bus stop.
It's probably too big. and
No,
tall.
maybe not.
Maybe not.
Depend.
But maybe there's an opportunity to introduce some more planting.
Yes,
Yes.
I try to
But
save
that's,
them.
But it will be, I mean, I'm sure we can coordinate that, but that'll be outside.
There's no setback, right?
There's no setback,
No.
there's no.
But that
And-
crimson maple is on the village property.
Yes, it's too far away from the
It's too far,
foundation.
and it's
Oh, yeah.
not gonna- it's
Yeah,
not gonna work.
definitely,
Okay.
yes. The pines, again, if I can save them, welcome. I don't wanna throw in the garbage, it's a beautiful pines.
Right.
So if I can remove them with the professional people knows how to play with that, as a landscaper guy with a big bucket machine, take
Yeah.
them from the bottom,
Yeah.
relocate them well, get water for a couple weeks, I'm sure they'll go back into it. Yeah,
So-
pine, they needed a lot of water and
Please, if you can
replace
show
them.
This tree, so it shows that it's a stripe.
The
No,
superintendent for the
Here?
aqueduct park
Yes,
wants to
you see,
open
and that's
that
what I
up.
wanted to show.
He may want
Oh,
to
there
get
is a-
rid of the
Yeah.
back fence to open it up from the bus stop
Yes.
back.
So that's an
something we need to
interesting
do.
That would
thought.
be nice, yeah.
Now, if we say we're gonna introduce trees along this, on the village side, I guess, the
Right.
village property, so it's basically, going to a zero lot line, right? I mean, they're
Even
gonna build right to
even
their,
shrubbery,
they're
you wouldn't
building
leave-
right to their lot line,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, there's no setback.
So
There's no
if-
setback.
if they introduce trees there, does that kind of, are you saying that the Aqueduct group, the Aqueduct Park, or the commission, or whoever it is, would object to that? I mean,
No,
that's
I
an
don't think they
interesting-
would. What they've indicated to me, because one of the questions, and we discussed this before the zoning board, was maintenance of that area there, which is in fact village maintenance in that area. But the superintendent for the park, Aqueduct Park, has indicated the rear fence line, which is back there, they may want to try to open that up, because basically it would make it even a bigger walking area. Because
And
as you
it-
go
and it-
further from beyond Mr. Silva's and you go further further north, those properties encroach far more in terms of onto the aqueduct. This one, in fact, is not. So that's why.
Yeah, it's an interesting
they would do
question.
that.
I mean, it
keep
would be an
green,
improvement on the
but-
corner of Waller and behind because it is really a mess right there. And it would be an improvement. So, so as long as there's a thought about, I mean, I
Right.
don't know, you can't put the plantings there because it's outside of your property line, but,
But there was a discussion with zoning, I
Yeah.
think, about some landscaping with
Yep.
Mr. Silva.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
And
and
now, that conversation would be with Paul, if we wanted to kind of get a sense of who would really, for the village, speak to that.
In terms of putting something on the village
Allowing,
side,
yeah, I mean, is it the
don't
manager?
don't we have a landscape consultant?
we have an arborist.
There's an
An
arborist.
arborist?
We do have an arborist. 'Cause that's who came in and checked the trees that were in the aqueduct.
I mean, I think there's an opportunity to do something to soften this up a little bit, but at the same time, I also understand, we want to kind of maybe create more access to the back of the property because of the aqueduct, so, I mean, you'll lose some trees in the back, but maybe we'll gain something in the front.
And that's also, as I was pointing out, where the lady is standing, you see what I'm saying about.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Being all striped, no, this lady here.
Yeah.
Being all striped that area because of the proximity to the bus stop.
Right.
Yeah, but the trees, like you get it continue to north side, you can see how many feet between ones to the other, and maybe can fit two trees in their side, and they fill it up, the whole thing, and everything look the same.
So you're talking about
Yeah,
street level
Street.
sidewalk?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
room for two at least.
I could see that, I mean, I don't know if
Yeah.
you want to have one right here, because it might impair the vision of the.
Not way to the corner, but like with the, like that lady in there, maybe the starting point, and you got other one on the corner of the building,
What-
the existing building.
Whatever trees go in though should match,
The
if
existing-
we're looking down.
Correct.
Further down.
Yeah, it would
Right.
be-
Yeah.
They should be spaced so that.
Correct.
Spaced
so that it's-
accordingly.
As you're standing and looking down Spring, you
Yeah,
get
yeah, yeah.
the symmetrical.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the same, I don't know if you get the exact same scale, but, you probably want to get something closer to the scale of how these have grown, I
Of
guess.
course,
We don't
yeah,
want
that's
a little
not a big
sapling,
deal,
'cause that's
yeah.
Right, right.
not look-
The same trees, the same color, the same type, so you don't get anything different in
We
there.
follow up with, Paul or the rec department, because
Let's
they've
do
been
that.
putting in those particular,
I think those are
Tree wells.
Bradford pears, I think. a lot.
Tree wells, and
They
and
could be
there's
Bradford
sponsor
pear,
spots too.
definitely.
yes.
Seems to be the common.
Do they have white flowers?
Yeah. yeah,
Then they're probably Bradford pears. They're a very
Right.
common street tree.
Okay, how are we handling trash over there?
That's in the basement.
Okay, is there gonna be private carting, is it gonna be a dumpster, what's it gonna be?
No, with the plastic containers.
Plastic rollouts.
Yeah, you cannot get at the big container, I hate that. Smell,
No, but I think the
difficult to
question.
clean. Or who
question is-
got to pick up them?
Yeah,
I mean, if the village not interested, I have to get a private.
Their preference would probably be private.
Other
yeah, I
building,
just, there's a concern over,
45, 47, that's village.
right, we have X number of trucks now and
Right,
stops.
it's a
Add
village.
12 more, 12 units, right?
Yeah.
It's just-
Probably
Yeah,
want it
it's
to be
not
private.
Can I ask,
No, that was I tried to turn it off and it.
I don't want to, you want to finish?
No, I think that's, because you guys are okay with that private collection?
Yeah.
Okay.
The, what do you have in the area behind your building? Is there landscaping or patio before you
That's,
get to the aqueduct?
yeah, that's what Jeff, we were talking about during the
The
zoning
zoning
board.
board wanted some landscaping beyond that, and it's actually as part of the resolution, thank you for
Yep,
reminding me,
yep.
so I have to put that there. That will be in there, they specifically wanted something there. First, there was some talk of a fence, but they wanted some green back there that would be.
So right now, is this sort of proposed,
All
just
way
a grass
across, yeah.
area, like
Yeah,
some sort
yeah.
of grass?
I'll be bringing whatever the
Right, but
name
it's
for
part
it.
of
Yeah,
zoning
yeah.
goes.
And that's, and that plantings, and Tracy, thank you for reminding me, would be contingent upon planning's review of it to make sure that it's consistent with.
You know, I
And
think-
also, I'm
Planning
assuming
department.
also with the,
Planning
aqueduct, with the, state park, right, with the, who was in charge of the aqueduct.
Right, I think one of the issues was why it was part of the resolution is that there was the discrepancy between what they would like to see, there a fence, there was what kind of fence, there was a landscaping, I think we
Right.
opted for landscaping.
And then there's a practical matter too. Will grass actually grow back there if it's shrouded in, shade stuff?
Right,
So
it's
that's
very
something that's
shady
gotta
back
get
there.
figured out.
Yes.
Sorry, Joe.
What's your, the alley, what are you gonna have on this ground surface? Is it gonna be pavement or
Yeah,
is
it's
it?
gonna be
Pavers.
Yeah.
Pavers,
It
or
doesn't- pavers.
Pavers or-
Granite pavers.
granite pavers?
Ah.
That's the right answer.
Really? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
That's the right answer.
Set in cement?
Advertise it to my company, my import company.
I know, but set in
That's what
cement
I
or
do.
soda? What are
They
you
can
doing,
put-
cement?
some
We don't-
people can
we
see
don't
it,
ask
by the
Gary
way.
sourcing it.
Why
Are you
not?
cement or
Just have to
soda?
answer.
Pavers by terroristic,
Yeah,
Pedro, cement or soda?
yeah, Belarusi
Cement.
No,
stone.
no, it's gonna be
Cement.
Huh? I'm sorry.
She wants to know how you're gonna set it.
And you're gonna have it semi-impermeable?
Oh, no, 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 no,
joints,
no,
it's
no,
all
no,
gonna
no,
be
no.
cement,
No,
okay, good.
no.
All right, got it.
Anybody else?
I know this isn't part of the site plan approval, but just for my information, how many of the units are affordable out of the 12?
One, I think, that's the one, I got the building next door, yeah. I got him branded
10%
also is
rounded
one.
down. Is that how that works?
No, it's actually,
It's two.
it's 2, it's
Two.
10%
I thought it
rounded
was
up.
Was it
for every
Because we don't
six?
change, it's, what's 10%?
So that'd be 1.2.
So it's 1.2 and 1.2 gets
Everything
rounded
rounds
up
up,
to 2.
everything gets
We round
rounded
up.
up.
Hmm? Two?
Yeah, because we round up, we don't round down.
Okay.
Anyone else? Anybody from the public here to speak to this application? Okay. Okay.
Now, we have BAR site plan as well as parking waiver.
Sorry, the BAR was also on here tonight. too.
Right, that was the first thing on, so I just wanted to make sure.
We
you
want to
guys
just do BAR now as well, and then we'll just
Yeah,
simultaneous.
Yeah, we could just,
Yeah.
yeah, I can put
Let's
it
do
all
that.
in one
Let's do
resolution.
that. Okay, so let's look at BAR then.
They are, I mean, we mentioned the adjacent building. We talked about the recess on the side of the building. So we put the two buildings together, that's 47 and 49 together. And you can see the alleyway in between them. The last time we had discussions about privacy windows on the side in the alley, which we have. And also we have those two, I guess what you will call the south side, two indentations so we can put windows.
Just drag back down for a second.
Yeah.
So question, over here, it's sort of like, your standard Home Depot type of door, if you will. Is this more glass, and is this gonna be a different look here?
No, the other one is the lumen, it's not it's a commercial grade.
Okay, so these are all, okay,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I don't wanna say how much it cost me, but $4,000.
I understand.
Not the Home Depot.
Definitely
Yeah,
some
definitely.
detail on
Yeah.
it. Because
Yeah,
this
right,
does,
right.
from a quick perspective, I mean, this looks certainly different than
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
so. And again, samples, siding, roofing.
Well, the idea was to match the building next door, so, I mean, you still,
You got to get on the roof, whatever you see in the building next door is a slate look, not shingles, it's got to be slate. On the color of the stucco, you got to be similar, I think you got color somewhere, no?
yeah,
Right here behind you?
that was the field color and this is it.
Can you pull up the street view of the existing?
Sure.
Yeah.
Move back a little bit.
So same color brick and everything, just
Mhm.
matching.
So-
You got to get stone in the corners, you got to be very much similar with the other one. A little bit different is the configuration of the windows and stuff, the other ones you bump out, the other one it goes in, so a little bit different.
On the elevation you had before, it looks like the gable, the extended gables, it looks like that they are raking above the roof line, and the roof line on the new building is not as high as the other one, so let's take a look at that again. You had it right
This
in the middle.
detail up there.
I think we should.
Yeah, it's actually the front.
See, instead to get it this kind of.
Oh,
So,
You can raise
yeah,
it
we
a little
can,
bit.
we can lower that to.
lower
match
width
this.
or
Yeah.
raise,
Increase.
or raise.
Increase
What do you
the
want to
reach
lower?
as a-
I don't think you're lowering
No,
what's there already.
Right.
No,
I was
you
just gonna
can't.
say, if you wanna,
You
Oh,
wanna
lower,
raise it, you-
raise the,
Raise-
you will align, okay.
Align.
Well, I
with other
don't
one,
mind variation, but this looks like, we're going into, western Boomtown. If those, what are those projections here, which are gables, are they actually higher than the roof line? So are we just talking about a facade, or are we talking a full gable roof coming in there? I'm
No,
sorry,
it's
I'm
not
not,
a
you
full-
don't understand what I'm saying.
I see the
so
side.
like a
This
mansard.
relationship here,
Yes.
between that peak and the roof, what's that?
They frame gable stay the way it is, and the ridge roof, it goes in line with the other one. That's how it should be.
So this has to be raised up to be in line with this?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that has to go up.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's my question
Yeah,
number one.
make more,
Right.
And the roof is pitched which way? I mean, is
No,
this-
it's
is a ridge
like,
in the middle,
it's like
or-
this.
Yes.
It's like that. That's
it's a
not-
short, it's a short roof.
Yeah.
But still,
This is-
If you see, if you turn around on the
You
side,
see,
on the
if you
left
zoom in
side.
on the side, you see the.
Not the
That's the
new,
front.
the new one. If you can go to the back, the old one.
But in
Back
essence,
into
what,
the
a flat
photo?
roof, and you
Yes,
got
in
some
essence,
sort of
it's a
mansard or
flat-
some
yes.
kind of a false.
Yeah. it's a
Yeah,
flat
just
roof.
like that,
it's a flat roof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right there.
sort of, yeah.
Well, sort of. You still have that, sort of.
Well, no, we
Still have a
wrap
piece
it,
of a-
okay, in the
Back up
new,
from there.
in a new design, we don't have a flat line like that. We wrap it around the mansard lock, around the building. So it's, I think it's a better,
Right,
finish.
so, but you're still gonna have whatever part that you're pitched.
Yes,
Your
It will
gable is
align.
gonna meet that,
Yes.
it's not gonna be raised above it,
No.
right? Okay,
Right.
thank you, that was the number one. The second thing I have is, first of all, in your other elevation where you're showing the two buildings next to each other, you're not showing the stone veneer coins on the existing building, which are there, but you're showing
okay,
them in this.
I'm
Now,
right.
I have an issue with that. I mean, an issue not with the fact that they're not there, but I do have an issue with this design element. I don't know where it's coming from, Mr. Peterson. Where is that
Almost,
design
not to me.
element coming from?
What are you not happy with what?
What is this? Where does this come from? I mean,
The
where
edge?
Yeah, we
does
can do it
this
with brick.
design
We can do
element
it with brick.
originate from? Where does it start? I mean,
We
how?
can do it with brick.
I'm open for anything,
We
whatever.
can do it with brick and that.
You like to,
Well, you have brick at the bottom, so you have like a brick coin.
I mean, to piggyback on what Kai is saying, I think, look, this is an opportunity to really get this westerly elevation and this southerly elevation right, because we're gonna look, those are what we're gonna see. I mean, if we're not happy with how this exists now, further north, let's get that right, because
Right, but
sort of that's
those-
the
but
permanent
those are the
corner
elements.
monument now for that
Right,
little
what
section of the
What we're
village.
saying, the finishes are the same, but as you can tell, we wrapped the mansard roof around and the both sides. I think that, can agree with you, I think that that element, that detail, if it was brick instead of like brick points and
It just has to be something that looks like it's actually represent something that would have been supporting.
Right.
And
okay,
That-
let's
so
let's
that's-
give a
So
look
that
at
if you look on the side elevation, if you go to the side that you will see from the bus stop, as you can tell, we're bringing, there's an indentation on the, we're bringing those windows in. There's not much we can, again,
that we understand, and there's an
Okay.
articulation there, that you
Right.
can't go, otherwise you'd have to go back from
Right.
the property line, we understand that. But if you
Yeah.
are treating, whatever you're doing here, we'll see this. It's
Right.
an overland next to it, so whatever you're using, corner board, this is some kind of a ledger board you're putting in here, what is that?
it's like a detail board, it will be like a honey plank board that gives you a break with the,
Between the floors,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I think this should be heftier, and it should maybe something that replicates a real cornerstone going up, not face stone, not cut, broken field brick. So I'm fine with that.
I think that if it's not a stone, like Mr. Silva wanted, I think it should be brick. I mean, that's,
Brick is, I have no problem with brick, I'm fine with
Okay.
brick. And I also do think if you can raise this a few feet up so that this is not
no, but you
leading.
see there, in the front elevation, it was shown higher, but this is, as you can tell, we align it.
Right.
So,
But you know, when you're standing looking up, it will always look as if it's taller than.
When you raise on the front, you got to be on
So
the
you
side.
have a
No,
perspective
no.
issue as well. What is this? This is about 6 feet? Yeah. 8 feet, 8 from
no, that's
plus
about
10
4
or 12?
feet.
Only 4
Yeah,
in elevation?
yes.
Okay. So when you're looking at it from the bottom, it's gonna look very flat. It's just one of the things that I think architecturally, you can make it look a little better. You can make these 2 gables, both in one on the sides and the one in the front, be more important if you just add a few feet to this roof.
But when you're looking from the street, from the sidewalk, those elements will look bigger because of the perspective.
The perspective, you'll see
You
the
will look-
gables be sticking out more. The
Right.
roof is falling back.
Right.
So the roof will look like it's flatter than the gables. So you need to make that roof higher in order for the gables to actually relate.
But we're talking about, we're looking at an elevation, when you're looking from the street, I mean, that's a view that you'll be,
Yeah,
not exactly
and in
the
this
same
building,
view.
you have 4 or 5 feet
Get the,
more in the
south
height.
elevation too,
In the
what
one that
exists.
the new building you're proposing, that
I'm
roof is
not,
gonna be less.
I'm not agreeing that raising the roof will make.
You don't think so?
No.
I think the concern, I think, look, you know, we've been down this road before, and there's some previous board members that would probably be a little bit taken back by that other image. I mean, I just think there's there's more improvement that could be had here. Because again, I think that's gonna be what we're gonna look at for a long time to come. You know, this has some interesting elements to it. The other one just seems very flat. You know,
Well,
just, again,
it does
one-
have the
one-
indentation, I mean,
One person's
this
opinion,
has, you have a bump, the other one has a void going.
I mean, some of these elements might be interesting on the other elevation, but maybe enhanced with some materials. I mean, we're talking architectural.
Yeah, I mean,
That's about if I do a stone.
No, no, all stone?
Yeah.
what? I'm sorry, I didn't
If you want to be like a special building in the entrance of downtown, let's do in stone. Stone limestone.
We want you to do the.
This?
We want to hold you to the highest
Come on.
standard. We want you to set the bar high.
So we
Why not?
will bring the.
They have to do all the building all around, or we can do the front and the facade on this side. If you help me that way, the back and the side is on the hallway, nobody going to see anyway, the building blocks totally.
I think that's.
The back part also, if I do stucco like this stucco, it helps a lot. It's a 2 inches thick insulation from outside, plus the regular insulation or the traditional insulation inside the studs.
Look, I think as a board, we're concerned about those 2 elevations.
Well, that's 2 elevations, I don't-
You know, obviously, we're not gonna.
I don't mind to do in stone.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a significant location.
Yeah,
You're
I don't mind to
we're
do
gonna
in
look-
stone. I can do with a big water table, separate the brick in the bottom,
Okay, so.
Yeah.
and
I
keep
mean, there's
down
some
with
interesting
stone.
elements that exist on the
No
current
problem.
facade. Maybe like, again, you guys take another whack at the piñata, if you will.
Some of the treatment around the windows, more detail.
Yeah.
Like the other building had some
Yeah.
nice elements.
Yeah. You can increase some things in there. That's like a cosmetic, I don't mind. You know,
So we can,
I agree with you, this is a little naked versus the other one is more attractive. So just create some more stuff in here, that's okay.
I don't think you have to be as concerned about matching them even.
Right.
Let this one take on its own
Yeah,
character.
absolutely.
You're gonna see it
We're gonna
prominently
change,
from
we're
Spring
gonna-
Street. It's open on the one side.
and I think in this one too, I think you need to see the 3D because I think you're missing the indentation, the voice going in and out.
And when you're back next month with some samples, maybe it's a little more tangible, we could see, oh, wow, that's an interesting
Right, and you
complexion
can
of color.
maybe enhance the indentation by either do a stucco that's darker in there, so you create more of a shadow line, or a different material altogether, just mixing it up a little bit.
Okay.
The last thing about this elevation, this is what you're gonna see from Spring Street, or if you're in that, I know it's not a park, but in that open space there, if you're at the bus stop. It's a pretty large, and I know you've got it broken up, but it's a pretty large blank wall, and I don't know if you can consider windows or some other way of breaking that up, but especially towards the front of the building, it's pretty blank. I mean, I don't know what structurally you can do with that.
I don't know about the layout inside.
No, I don't know about that, but I mean, if you can look at it.
I don't know by heart, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something that I cannot answer
If
myself.
you can't, if you look, I would like you to look at it. If you can't do it, then you can't, you know.
I mean, this might be something where there's two cuts, he brings back, you know, cut A and cut B, you know, we'd like B a little bit more than A, but maybe,
That's fine.
you guys know the drill.
Yep.
You know, variation in materials makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it can be two colors and a stone and the brick
Be a
together.
different melody.
Like in the existing building, you've got a lot of windows on the, Tracy, can you just go back to the,
Yes,
The street?
but that's,
no, I know the layout could be different, but.
Go to the layout?
No, no.
No, I'm saying the layout of this building could be different, but you've got a lot of windows there, you've got a lot more detail.
right, but
And then
in
all
our
on the-
case,
on this other-
our building is on the property, I mean, unfortunately, we're on the property line, so that's prevent us from having all these windows like we have here.
Yeah, I mean, all your windows
So
now.
we will have to have, we will look into see if we can have another indentation and put another
It's also a
window.
matter of the interior layout, I know
Yes.
that.
Mhm.
It's really what also drives this, but you have to make
And
both
this
things.
windows is on
So
this
then if you
side.
do have these big
Oh, yeah,
masses
it's
of
in
wall, maybe you can consider other materials.
This,
Okay.
this is how many feet?
No, we.
That's 2
Right,
feet.
I mean, I think
Okay.
we feel pretty confident on
Listen.
the site plan.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Site-
think,
We can
site
probably
plan, I
arrange
think
it.
we can say okay to.
And then we'll come back next month and look at what you
For
guys,
the
what
ARV, yeah,
And
you guys
if
think up.
they wanna meet, if they wanna bring something to
the work session.
yes, a work session.
But you're gonna come to a
We're
work
gonna have
session anyway,
meetings.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming,
You're coming anyway for other
Yeah.
things, it's going for this one.
but if you want to do site plan and the waiver.
Site plan and
Yes,
waiver.
yes.
Yeah,
let's
I
do
don't know,
that.
I didn't know if I called for public comment on the architectural
No,
aspect.
I don't.
Is anyone here to speak to that? Okay. No one here to speak to that, so why don't we move on the site plan approval? Need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second?
I just wanna, we're including in the site plan, street trees, or we,
That's not, that's the village, isn't it?
Well, I think that we'd probably want you guys to go talk to,
I prefer if we don't, if they can add that, and then we just,
and make it a condition to,
or add that to the plan, and then we can vote, since they're gonna come back on,
okay.
on the AR anyway, just.
So we can make that, I prefer if we get the site plan and the waiver, I mean, we can make it a condition. I prefer
Sure.
to have that approved.
If they
so-
can't plant them there, maybe they could just provide a donation to provide a street share somewhere else, if the
Well, there's a
utilities don't
few
allow
other
it.
Right,
there's a few other
right.
avenues of relief there, but I think, Jeff's got a good point, let's,
What, if that's, we can just make it a condition then, and
Yeah,
then we'll, yeah.
But that's
we'll vote,
village,
yeah.
that's village approval, right?
but I think the applicant understands what we
Street
want,
there,
sort of,
yeah.
want to see there, so
Yeah.
there'll be an effort on their part.
But we can make it a condition, if they can do it, they would communicate with the village to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
So with that condition, I
Yeah.
guess we'd like a second,
Yeah, I think it
is all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's for the site plan. BR, we'll see you guys next month.
Do we do the parking
Okay,
waiver? Is that
Parking
part of
waiver
it?
too as well, is that all part of the same?
Yes.
They need, I would do that as a second vote, to just get the
So I'll
parking
call
waiver.
for a motion on the voting for the parking waiver as far as the site plan. Yeah, for a second?
second.
Aye, all in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you, have a good night.
Good night.
Chair, I'd request we take a break for staff.
Sure, 5
5
minutes.
minutes.
The call back in session. Next applicant is 1-19 Austining Land, 31st State Street.
Good evening. My name's Annie Klein. I'm an associate at Del Bello, Donnell and Weingarten, Wise and Whitaker, and I'm here tonight on behalf of Ossining Land LLC for the project known as Hudson Step.
And Mr. Chair, just before Annie gets started, the zoning board at its last meeting granted 2 variances to Ossining Land, one with regard to parking, specifically with regard to the interior parking or the underground parking, and with regard to the height of the building. So those were both granted by the ZBA at its last meeting, so that's why it's now back before.
Were those the same variances that they
Yes.
got before, so
Yes.
now they have all the same variances?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Those were granted years back, but it expired because of...
Exactly, same thing with the site plan and conditional use. Yeah, so we got those variances. There was some confusion that came up at the meeting that we have since looked into. The conditional use permit, it was to deal with the parking issue and whether or not we had enough parking. We looked back at some conversations the previous attorney had with the planning director at the time, or the consultant planner at the time, that this was originally approved, and there was a shared parking that was granted for the office use in the Smith Robinson house and the residential use in the apartments. And so the 249 total parking spaces were granted under this shared parking, so no additional parking was required for the office use in the Smith Robinson house.
Annie, Chair, was that part of was that in the site plan
It
resolution?
is in the site plan resolution, sorry, yes.
Folks, the reason that came up at the zoning board meeting, if I can, just so as a background, and I appreciate Ms. Klein bringing this up. The issue was raised by the building inspector because the total number of spaces is 249 that they're providing. That is for the residential portion. Smith Robinson House, which will be used for office space, is not residential. So the building inspector at the last ZBA meeting had inquired as to whether or not there would be a location for an additional 19 spaces, because it's 7,500 square feet, and for general office we require 1 space for every 400 square feet. So it would work out to, I think, about 19 spaces.
If fully occupied.
If fully occupied, but I would have to look back, and I'm sure it's here, of the site plan resolution to see, what the joint thing was. I don't recall it. I have no doubt that that's there, Annie, I just don't remember.
Yeah, it's condition F.
Okay.
And it says that the applicant has conclusively demonstrated to the board that the office uses in the development will be generating a demand for on-site, off-street parking spaces primarily during times when the demand for off-street parking spaces by the residential use is not in high demand. Accordingly, the site as set forth in the site plan is eligible for the combined parking provisions of section 270-30A8. The parking for the residents and office space shall be shared parking.
So you would be asking this board to essentially adopt that part?
Right, yeah, I mean, essentially we're asking to just adopt all of the conditions of approval that were previous, and that is one of them.
Remind me again, when was that approval?
That was in February of 2015. But that came up at the meeting, so I just wanted to clarify that we did, check in on that.
Thank you.
I guess, the other thought here is, again, this is sort of like transit-oriented development, so I think there would probably be a lot of pedestrian. I mean, I don't see the huge demand for parking. You're not driving up to, an office park, along 287, the old style where, everybody drove. I mean, this is sort of village center, walking,
Right.
There are some mini lots nearby.
Is it going to be unassigned parking or at least some
Yeah,
unassigned
so
parking?
the parking garage is fully automated. So there's not an assigned parking space for any car. You drive in and push buttons and it parks your car for you. So there's no assigned parking. There are some surface parking spaces that could be used for the office, depending if they think it's an issue.
So let's say some of the office will be service oriented, where they have to have clients come in. Is it you know, if you are going to meet with somebody for a meeting for half an hour, you would want to be able to park easily and get out easily.
Mhm.
So the automated parking may not be so conducive to something like this.
Right, so, Ed Vogel's here with me tonight. I think there's,
I think you have 13 spaces.
13 spaces, yeah, on the property, not in the garage. So those could be designated for the office space during the day.
Right, and so
Yeah,
I think that would
just-
be smart.
Right, right.
To do.
Right.
Not for the office, you know, tenants.
Right, but for
their
the-
visitors.
right,
Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, those could be.
You know, that's an interesting thing, because the other thought is that, you know, the units are full, right? All your tenants are occupying the building, and you happen to have success, and you got the office rented. When we get to a point where, you know, that 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th car trying to get in, and there not be a parking space available, because you're saying it's not, they're not assigned spots, but the computer system knows
Yep.
whether it's at the limit of capacity or not.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure if there's, like a mechanism that tells you how full it is, or.
The concept here is shared parking. So during normal business hours, a good percentage of the residents will be at work, away from their home. Therefore, the 19 spaces can be easily accommodated in the 249 that are being provided. That's the concept of shared parking, and that's what we're relying on.
There would never be a situation where all the trays or spaces are plugged in and there's a queue of cars that would sit. I mean, you always have to be in your final destination. You can't like have some sort of a you know, a valet line or some kind of a line that's got
We
like
do.
these.
If you look at the site plan behind you, the entry into the automated parking is that orange or ochre color. When we look as you would drive counterclockwise around our internal loop, the teardrop as we call it, there is a queuing space that you could then queue and wait.
No, I'm not talking about the queuing outside, I'm saying inside the garage. There's not some system where you'd have several cars stacked there waiting. Once you're in there, you're going to your final.
You're not going.
You're not
Get out of
going,
your
the
car.
car is going. So there is a small waiting overhang, and you could also be internal. The system is automated, so you can actually call ahead and they'll start queuing your car out before you even arrive. So when you arrive at the kiosk, you tell them I'm here, and your car would arrive. They're anticipating about, there's 2 garages, there's 2 lifts, and it's about 90 seconds per car. So about every 45 seconds, a car is dispatched. And as one's dispatched, another one can go in. So there is flow.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
faster than New York City garage. The
Yeah.
parking in New York City.
You guys done? Anything else, or is it?
No, I just wanted to clarify that. Otherwise, if you have any questions, I know we've met with you a couple times, so.
Amy, what's the status with the EAC?
I believe we.
You submitted an additional survey.
Right,
correct?
and there were some materials that were found in the file. I'm not sure if you ever found the checklist.
We found the landscaping plan was in our files and we submitted it to,
Okay.
provided to them.
So I guess the theory is if we're okay with site plan, we move on that tonight, and is there a special permit again?
That's with the Board of Trustees.
Okay, so they're waiting for us to.
They've actually opened up the public hearing, and it should be back on the June 5th
Yeah.
agenda.
Mhm.
So they already have opened up the public hearing with regard to that, correct?
Are they, if they come back for a BAR?
No, the BAR never expired, so
That
that's
is
still
true.
good.
Okay.
And you guys aren't looking to make any changes? to
Not
it
at all,
voluntarily?
not at all.
And one of the things that's kind of interesting is like, you know, this project was approved, it's at 15. You know, the market's evolving. I mean, you know, there's sort of a trend towards smaller units and all these sorts of things. But if you guys are comfortable with the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And HPC will be at some point touring Smith Robinson. I know we're working to just get them in because they wanted to see it.
And the only other clarification is, I guess, they did get their demolition permit to demolish.
We're working, and I got an update, and Annie, I got from a contractor in Thornwood
Okay.
who wrote to me on last Thursday that all the paperwork is in with the village. The one thing that they're just working on is the bond. They hope to have that done within the next week or so, and once they have the bond, they can pull the permit, and they expect to get to work right away.
What part of the building is
Printex,
being?
The old Printex building, not the Smith
Just-
Robinson.
Just the Printex and not the addition to the Smith Robinson? The Smith Robinson has an addition on it that's gonna go.
Whatever is the historic, the landmark Smith Robinson.
But here's the thing, I think, you may wanna just
Right.
preempt what the historic preservation is going to ask.
Right.
Is that the intersection between the
Smith
Printex
Robinson
and the Smith Robinson house is very clear.
Right.
There's no issues really, but the addition that was made later in sandstone that's attached to and continuation of the Smith Robinson house is a more delicate demolition. So, I mean,
That they'll just have to be aware of.
that, yeah, and I would
Thank you.
assume that whoever has to do that demolition has to be knowledgeable of the story.
Oh, sure, of course, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
You're gonna have that from.
we
them,
have
too.
to preserve the building, so we'll
Yeah.
demolish accordingly.
Did you submit a demolition plan per se? I mean, is
Yes,
that-
in fact,
Yes.
one has already been submitted.
Yes.
Right, so I think
Yeah.
that's important to get circulated to the appropriate committee if it's HBC, that, maybe get their second okay on it, just so that we don't have a mistake where, you lop off
Yeah,
a
no,
floor
we
that
don't want
wasn't
any
intended to be
oops.
lopped
No.
off.
No oopses.
we don't.
We don't need to get stoned for that one.
Thank you, we can do that.
Do we have a board questions, comments, thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone from the public here to speak to this application? Okay. All right, so that being said, I guess what we would do is we would approve the site plan.
It's also conditional use, correct?
Yeah.
Conditional
For the
use.
office.
Right.
That's one, yeah.
Which means that you would be back to us if you had someone to occupy the office space at a later date. Conditional use.
No.
Well, their intention is to use it as conditional use,
Yeah.
and then that zone, it requires
Right,
conditional use.
right.
So,
Which means they would be back in front of us with a proposed use.
No, that is
Or
the
office.
use.
No,
That
it's
is the
office.
use.
Yeah.
Office.
Just, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Clarification.
and Annie, one thing to just check with that,
Mm-hmm.
in this zone, if it's just general office use, I believe it's permitted.
Okay.
It's live work is
Yeah,
conditional.
and that's why we
So
can
if
talk
you're not
about this
doing
offline,
If you're not
but
doing condition, if you're not
Right.
doing live work and just general office, that's a permitted use.
I know,
So
yeah.
I would ask this board, you could approve it. If it turns out it's unnecessary for the conditional use, they don't need it. But under our code in the PWC zone, general office is a permitted use.
Right.
Live work is
Condition.
conditional. So-
Which is an interesting scenario, because, they could say, look, we've tried to rent this as general office for X number of months and it hasn't worked, and then they might be back in front of us and say, well, we want to convert it now to this live work or some other,
Yeah, medical office also
Medical.
requires, for example, conditional, but
Okay.
general office does not.
and
So-
those, all the uses defined in the general office or in the zoning code.
Correct,
So you-
all the stuff is there.
Right, yeah, there's, it was a little confusing in the resolution as previously written, that they got the shared parking approval, but then it was live work, but yes.
So are we saying that we would grant them, or that we want them to come back if there's conditional use?
No, I think you could grant the conditional use.
Yeah, no, I think we should.
I think
Yeah,
you
I
could do that.
We're
personally
general
think we should.
business.
And if it turns out they don't need it, then they
Then
have it
that's, right,
permitted
that's
anyway.
just enough.
That's
That's
fine,
yeah.
I would agree.
I think we should.
Thanks.
Right. I call for a motion to approve the site plan.
Right.
First, are we voting on site plan and conditional use for Smith Robinson? Or is it do it-
Well, I would do site plan for the entire project and then conditional use permit that they're seeking, correct?
So we have a motion on the site plan, approval of site plan. Jesus, a second. Jeff, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Second motion would be for the approval of the conditional use of the office, Smith Robinson, for
Right.
general business. Can I have a motion for that?
For live work, to live work.
To live
For
work.
live work, I'm sorry.
Live work.
Live work.
I'll move.
Jeff, second, Jesus, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay, so moving right along, planning board 4-9, 5 Matilda.
Good evening, everyone.
4-9.
So based on last month's recommendation, we are proposing 2-foot extension of a driveway, which kind of was agreed with the neighbor next door who is okay with 2 feet, and also Franklin didn't want to do more than 2 feet. So basically, we would extend the driveway up to this area. In some areas, we'll have to chip the rock, obviously. I mean, the rock is still out, and we'll leave it as a rock exposed. And we'll place the macadam over the entire driveway.
So is this the first time we're seeing this, or was this submitted prior?
No. It was submitted. We had meeting last month, and as per your recommendation, we are submitting proposed driveway expansion.
The driveway, is it gonna go up, I mean, I see that the neighbors are here, but is it gonna go right up to your intention is to go right up to the house that borders that driveway, or are you gonna leave space there?
We are expanding only the left side, which is towards the 1 Matilda. The other side, as you can see, the 7 Matilda house is on the property line, and there is a small retaining wall which Franklin agreed to raise about 3 feet, I believe, right? So that will be per other neighbors' requirement. And the 2 feet, we'll stake it out, we'll see how the property lines go. We may be on our side, we may be on their side, and obviously they will have to approve after staking is done, and, we'll delineate 2 feet. And we have a proposal from a contractor. I sent a proposal to planning, which describe how he's gonna do it. All will be done by hand. Obviously, he'll protect the.
Okay, so we've got the expansion on the left side, the additional 2 feet to create
So it will be
better
about.
access, and we've also got an increased reconditioned.
Well, we're not touching this side, we're just raising the wall because the neighbor on number 7 have concern about, being too close to the driveway.
It'll provide a higher barrier between
Correct.
the driveway and there.
And that's gonna be a loose stone wall, or is that gonna be set in mortar or concrete, or?
The existing wall is stacked stone, it's loose, so we just continue building out same way.
It's gonna be essentially,
And how tall is the existing retaining wall right
Existing
now?
wall, it's about 2 feet, 18 inches to 2 feet, it varies. It's, if you could see it a little bit against the house. It's here.
It looks less than, it looks very
It's
low, but
kind
it's
of-
hard to
it's-
see in this
yeah.
perspective, of course, really close to it.
Yeah, you could see it, but it's kind of 18 inches to 2 feet.
and this is gonna be paved as well, right?
Correct.
So we're gonna pave them in as well.
I'm just trying to see if the representation of where that wall is relative to the house on your plan and here, how much distance is there from the inside of that stone wall to the house currently?
It's about 2 feet.
2 feet.
And the house is on the property line. There's zero tolerance.
Right. Okay. So you'll raise this to 3 feet. Okay.
That's sort of what the crux of our discussion was last month. How do we improve this driveway with better access and, help soften this with the neighbors?
Yeah.
And that was the issue, right? The neighbors, whatever.
We kind of,
That's the only issue that's.
right, Gabrielle, we kind of charged with, hey, come up with some better access, let's chip into the rock a little bit on this side, 2 feet, we're gonna clean up this wall, and this wall be paved. It's sort of the overarching theme of the neighbors was,
Right now, it is a legal driveway, basically, so, but based upon the conversation with the neighbors, we would like to improve on it, as per your recommendation.
yeah, I mean, it went from a single family to a two-family, so. Anybody else for a comment?
I'd like to hear
Yeah.
if any comments.
Public, yes.
Right, yeah. that's-
Anybody care to speak this from the public?
Hi, good evening, Adam Markovich. Got to state my professional affiliation this late. And I commend the board for paying attention this late at night. I appreciate it. Okay, so this is certainly an improvement over what we've seen before. I think I'm speaking for myself and my wife. We're at 7 Matilda Street, and I think overall we're pretty happy with what we see, assuming that our neighbors, the Colognes, are okay with the expansion, the proposed 2-foot expansion of the driveway on the left-hand side. We're happy with the increased height proposed for the wall. On the plans, it says line of existing 18 to 24-inch stacked stone wall, increased length to 36 inches. That should be height.
Hi, I'm sorry.
And some of the stones are stacked. There's cement in some parts of it. I wonder if we could add a condition, seeing as the wall is it's a party wall. It's shared, and it fronts our property. If
Well, it's on the Creole's side, because the property line is on the side of your wall. It's basically Creole's stone wall.
Okay, well, if it's not technically a party wall, it certainly fronts our property, and we'd like some assurance that, we'll have some participation in the materials selected for increasing the height of the existing stone wall.
It would be same stone, so it will look like it was built at the same time.
I personally like to not have this come back in 5 years, for somebody to start, discussing this. I really think that it needs to be surveyed. I believe that if there is a discussion, because I don't see, I have been to 7 Matilda, I have
We
been
do
to
have
that,
a
so-
survey, and we did provide
You
it
do,
to you.
and
Correct.
does the owners of 7 Matilda agree to that survey? Does their survey agree to the survey that you have? Because I think
Well,
that's.
I don't
an-
know what they have, they
I
should
understand,
present
I
their
understand, but
survey.
what I'm just saying is that I think that, since we were talking about neighboring property lines, it may be a good idea to make sure that your surveys agree, because a foot or two in this situation can be a big issue. So, and I think it's a good idea, and I agree with what Mr. Markovich says about the fact that it shouldn't just be piled more stone on the rubble wall. At 36 inches, that's not a structural integral wall. 18 inches you can handle, but 36, it's not stable. So there's two things that I just can see in the future there can be some issues with. So if you can compare surveys and make sure that they really are showing the same exact place of the property line and the exact same placement of that wall, then I think you have done yourself a huge favor.
Well, we're planning to stake out everything before we start. That's our intent. I think that's a legal approach to this anyhow.
I don't think a foot's gonna matter because the wall's on this side of the property.
It looks, I mean, this looks like it was lifted from a survey, their site, which she has on the front page of the survey that was lifted.
Are you asking them to get, the neighbors to get the survey?
I just think that they should look at each other's survey, because I know that 2 feet has been a contested issue many, many times in the past. So the question is, if you're erecting a wall, you know, who will be responsible for that wall?
Criollo, we had the previously, maybe a year ago, we had a meeting about this with all the neighbors, and at this time Franklin agreed that he will raise the height of the wall.
Right.
That was,
And I think probably some thought, not that this is a huge project, but some staging where you'd want to do the wall first before you probably pave, or
Correct.
before that, you probably want to chip out the other side, because that's going to be the messiest function, then you do the wall, then you do the paving. Some thought has to be given to that, I guess, too, so that, because you might have to literally excavate that entire wall, on some kind of a better base, you know, footing or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, who owns the property on the left? Is that Mr. Fiolo or?
Mr. Criollo.
This is real old property.
That's me, Michael Como. Good evening, folks. I own 1 Matilda Street, which is on the left.
Okay.
And it's acceptable to me as long as it adheres to these specific parameters, and that we get notice of when this work is going to get done, when stuff is going to get posted, so I can be out there or have someone out there. The only other concern I have is just some contingencies. They've made a mess of this place, and I'd like that the construction site be cleaned up as best as it can be. I mean, 5 Matilda Street, I own 3 Matilda Street, and I'm having an impossible time renting it because prospective tenants come out and say that they just look at this site and it's just a mess. And that's a real problem for me.
So, I mean, to close the loop, I mean, we spent a lot of time on this driveway because it, you know, seems to be the, you know, the biggest source of where our time has to be spent. But, you know, to look at the entire site, I mean, it's the structure is built, right? I mean, it's done.
Yeah, and Franklin was supposed to be back from his duty, but he was sent to Iraq, and he doesn't know when he's coming back.
What other site work has to get done on the bulk of the site, back where the house is?
Well, the
Is it
house is
paving,
sided,
site work done?
house is sided, and, you know, basically just landscaping and.
So landscaping has to be completed. I'm assuming whatever driveway's gonna get done, when you pave this, you'll pave back there?
Well, we gotta start with rock, and then we repair the wall, then we pave the whole thing, and it's a process.
There are also still commercial trucks on that site. The site's being used as a parking lot. Folks are paying for parking. Some commercial businesses are paying to park their vehicles there. I can't, you know, it's just, that's gotta go.
This isn't in court, is it?
Yes, matter of fact, it is. Well, they have been orders to remedy that were very recently issued based upon what the Cologne said issued. I know the building department has done that. They're under, the Criollos would now be under the time frame of a 30-day period to get it all cleaned up.
So,
And if that does not happen, it goes into court with an appearance statement.
stop work order and the whole bit, right?
Yeah, so the building, it's up, but at this point, they have issued the order to remedy. They have photos.
So, yeah,
of
you're
what
gonna
has
wanna
to be
get
done
this
there.
done, because we don't, like, you know, Kai and everybody else says, we don't wanna be back here 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now,
So,
Well, the commercial trucks, we gave them, they're gonna be out at the end of the month, they should be gone.
So Friday would be all gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is on the property of 5 Matilda, correct? That's there's some trucks there, those are the ones we're talking about.
so, and I'm seeing that you all got together and came up with a plan that, for the most part, you agree with, maybe with some nuance about the wall. But this is way better than what we started with.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
So, yeah.
Two other points quickly. This is Adam Markin speaking again for the record. There is on the top segment of the existing stone wall, a fence. The fence is, I don't know, about 20 feet long. It runs on the top of the stone wall, and there's no provision in the plans as written for a replacement fence. So I'd ask the applicant to speak to that.
Nope. We've been at that building before.
About a quarter mile north.
There, I think. Is that it?
Was there a stockade fence?
Yeah,
I
that's
saw? A stockade? Because you also have a stockade on your side too, right? Behind,
No.
Stockade there.
Somewhere about here. Is that the right driveway?
But the fence is not
No,
on the
that's one
Creola's
Matilda.
property, it's on.
No, it's next one up.
If you go further to the right.
No,
Other
no,
way.
no.
Oh, to the right.
Right, yeah.
Not that driveway, but the
This
one.
one.
This
By the
one.
hedge, yeah.
And you go down that driveway.
The fence starts after your house, if you're,
Yes.
Sort of at the
Yes.
corner of your house, right?
I can't
Yeah.
back up. I don't know that we're gonna be able to see it.
You may not be able to see that.
I don't think you can see it.
She's in on the back. She's on the back on the side, where the 2 feet, the building the wall on this side.
so if they add rock to the wall, you want the fence, you prefer the fence.
I think that additional height is important, so we would want the fence replaced on top of the
There's a fence behind the house.
the enhanced wall.
At the back corner of the house going back, there's a,
On
on
the
top of the
last
wall.
20 feet of the wall, behind the house.
So, I
There
don't
is
know,
a
is that
fence on
something?
top.
Well, I have not discussed it with the client, but.
We did discuss that. If you're talking about the whole, it divides the pathway for, I think that's the trail or something. Is that what?
Yeah, it does.
Aqueduct?
Yeah.
Yes.
So then,
If you could
Yeah, the
call up,
aqueduct
Tracy, if
runs
you could
in.
call up the plan showing the stone wall, I can point it out. Okay, so, if I may, I'm sorry. The segment that starts, where you see the number 93 to the end.
Of the wall.
Yes.
And this is the corner of your house, right?
Yes.
This is the corner of the house.
There is a fence right now, a wood fence. I should add a period appropriate fence sitting on top of the wall. And it's about, 20 feet in length. And there's no provision for that in the plans as written.
Is that on your property or their property?
it's on their property.
It,
On their property.
yeah, if the wall is theirs, then it's on their property.
So it sounds like if that were to kind of be incorporated into this plan, I
Yes.
think it sounds like everybody'd be okay with it.
May I speak?
May I also just make a quick comment, Lorraine Plaza Cologne, 1 Matilda. I'd like some clarity as far as how far the paving's gonna go, because the driveway, we have an easement into 3 Matilda, and along that driveway has ditches, a lot of cars bottom out.
Well, it's all like hashed out. You can see that's the pavement, paving, yeah.
This is the easement that you're talking about, this little piece here?
It's here.
No, easement is whole driveway.
It's the entire driveway, all the way up,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Now,
And
Yeah.
I want you to finish, because then I don't want to cut you off.
You know, I will constantly drive this home because for many years we talked about commercial vehicles in the area. And I just want to be clear that we're not agreeing to widen this so that we can allow trucks to come through. And so
I mean, I think we have the applicant on record saying they're not gonna have commercial vehicles.
Right, and
or-
so
Other
I-
than what's permitted by our zoning code.
Right. I just don't want to have to deal with those
We talked
phone
about
calls
that the
going
last time
forward.
on self
I actually believe
business.
at the last meeting, we discussed having condition on this, that they would not be allowed to have home businesses at this property. So there wouldn't be commercial, like you couldn't operate a business, that is a permitted use,
Even better.
but we could put that as a condition and it was acceptable to them.
I see you have the driveway going all the way back to that, to the property that's on Snowden.
36 Snowden?
Yeah. Is the intention of extending that driveway around to create a loop for cars to
But
be
I think
entered?
that's where the driveway ends right now.
So it's just to end, because I know that there's a history of, at one point, the zoning board, with respect to 36 Snowden, wanted it cut off. They actually wanted
They wanted a
that
stone
closed.
wall always.
So it would end at the property line. That's where the driveway is now. The
And
entire
it's-
driveway needs to be paved.
And so my question is, while this is in front of us, this is an opportunity to close this off if we don't want this to be a through traffic situation. And we're now doing a lot of work to improve this entrance from Matilda. Seems like this would be an opportunity to close it off if it's not.
I mean, just, I think for the, the own applicant's admission that they wouldn't connect or whatever would pretty much take care of that, but you want to show them.
Well, I'm saying we could require that
There
closed.
is a fence, so we could just
Extend the fence.
extend the fence to the corner.
Yeah, that was a okay.
Yeah, I have no problem with the driveway just going out and ending, but I'm concerned about
Right, there's
two entrances.
It's too
and-
enticing to be connected at a later date.
Yeah, if someone wants to just take a shortcut home and go through Snowden instead of Matilda. So I think we should close that off with a fence.
Anyone else care to speak to this?
Hi, I'm Joyce Tavolacci, and I also live at 7 Matilda. I'm sort of concerned about the speed at which vehicles travel down the driveway, so I'd maybe like to suggest a speed bump or something, because cars fly down that driveway right past our house, and that's disruptive. So.
That's interesting.
Can we do that?
I don't know if we've ever imposed a speed limit on a private.
It's not a speed limit, I think, I think she's more asking just put a, you can't impose a speed limit,
No,
but you couldn't put it, you could put something to, restrict it if you thought.
As long as it doesn't divert water in some other.
Well, that's a whole other issue.
That's the
Yeah.
problem.
We want to,
with the speed bump thing, yeah.
it's a whole other consideration.
Yep.
It could do that. There's also sometimes a challenge with snow removal.
Yeah, that's an interesting dilemma.
I think that people should be more cautious, that's all.
Yes. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so I think we're probably ready to move on this with some conditions.
I've got all the conditions you put down, because it is a conditional use permit, so.
There'll be no commercial business. Jeff's suggestion to close the drive at the end, extend the fence. Another condition, I think, to extend the fence behind 7 Matilda with some appropriate,
On top of the wall.
yeah, on top of the wall. And then again, height, not length, I guess, on the plan, the stack wall.
36-inch high.
Can we put in some kind of traffic calming requirement for the driveway?
I mean,
I could
is there a way to do it? That's the question. It's not that wide. We can't really do this.
No.
And my concern,
So-
yeah, my concern is if, there's some kind of impediment or some
Well,
office
you know,
there, would it divert
there's-
water a certain way?
There's some traffic calming, it's like brick pavers, they're not very high, they're wider than they are higher, as opposed to like a speed bump.
But how would that affect the snow removal? Because that's the other part you're gonna look at.
I mean, I don't
Well,
think
it's a private-
I mean, they're on
private
they're on
driveway,
city
so-
streets, the snow plows come through and remove snow on.
Yeah, but if you have such a long driveway, right, you're gonna, maybe you get a little thing to, you're not gonna do that by power.
I would be, personally, I'd be a little concerned about,
Any speed limit.
addressing,
I think people should use common sense.
speed limits on a private driveway. It's like, as you said, it's a common sense issue.
If it was a larger residential development, I think we would.
Yeah.
But I don't-
Austin Children's Center or something.
That's
Yeah.
different.
Right, have a motion to approve with conditions discussed?
A motion to approve.
Have a second?
Conditions.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Court too, that's the other, ultimately.
Yeah, that's the thing, they're in court, so.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you want to get a CO, you want to get a mortgage, you want to sell your property, you know, eventually you have to clean up the mess. You can't drag us, there's not enough room for 2 cars. All right, so the next on the agenda is 5-19, Hudson LLC, 2.1 North Highland.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Adam Weckstein, a partner in the law firm of Hofferman, Tortorella, and Weckstein, and I represent the applicant. What our application is proposing is, as you know, there's an operating senior living facility at 321 North Highland. You're probably all familiar with it on the west side of Route 9. It's approximately a 10-acre, little in excess of 10-acre campus located in the OR district. It is a use that is permitted in the district. When it was last before your board, in 2008, you approved a renovation of the facility as it was transferred to an Atria and was completely redone at that point. Now what is being proposed is, in essence, an expansion from 122 units to 161 units. We're here to amend the site plan, and I have a group here who's more qualified than I am to go through more of the details. But what we're going to ultimately be seeking from you, in addition to site plan approval, is a consistency determination under the LWRP, architectural approval for the additions to the facility. We will need an excavation permit and a tree removal permit, and because the village is an MS4, we'll also need an approval of the stormwater management plan associated with the facility. What I would ask you to do tonight after you hear from the group, and we're obviously here to answer any questions, is to decide to declare your intent to become lead agency under SECRA and to circulate to the involved agencies, which I believe other than you are only the Westchester County Health Department for Sewer and Water and New York State DEC, because they're going to need the general speedies permit for construction, and also to refer it to the EAC, Environmental Advisory Council, for its comments. And let me turn it over to Mike Walrzak from Atria, whose name I just butchered, even though I've known him for a long time.
Yes. Hi, I'm Mike Walrzak. I'm a Development Planning Director for Atria Senior Living. Atria's been in your community now for almost 10 years. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. I know it's late in describing who we are, except I want to hit a couple points.
We appreciate the brevity.
Yes. Atria is one of the nation's larger assisted living communities. We are proud of the quality, and we try to put together the top assisted living owner-operator in the country. We have 23,000 residents and about 16,000 employees in a number of states and in 7 Canadian provinces. And we have 3 different, actually, brands, of which in this brand is your Atria, is Atria Senior Living, which includes a memory care component. I just wanted to show you our highest concentrations are in the New York area and on the West Coast. So you see some of our communities, that's your community and some of the surrounding ones. Now, what I'd like to say, though, an important point here is we're probably the biggest small company that you ever come across, and let me explain that. about 65% of our residents in each community, on average, are from the community, from the Austining or the Austining area, the general area. And of the remaining 35%, a high percentage of those are parents of adult children, where the adult children have moved here, and the parents have come and followed them from wherever they grew up, you know, their hometown, as they get older. So we are part of the community, and we view that as an important element of our company. So in each one of those communities, we pay a lot of attention to where we're located and, you know, who the people are and what people are looking for. So we are a large company, but we're a large company made up of small communities throughout the country. We have associations locally with Columbia and International Council on Aging, and so we're always looking to improve our product and our care, which leads to the last. If you look at Atria concentrates on quality control. We have, first of all, we need to meet the basic standards of the states that we are located in this case New York, of course. But beyond that, we have our own standards, which we believe are higher standards. So what you're looking at there are trends. We have actually dedicated people that are walking into our communities and making sure that we meet the basic state standards and beyond. So from 2008, which is just a little bit before we opened in this community, to today, look at the trend of where, and these are deficiencies per state survey per visit. So we're down to less than one on average from a state visit. Now this is nationwide, basically. So we have systems in place that are trying to improve our quality of care that we're giving to our residents. So, you know, that's basically, you know, in a nutshell, who we are and what we're trying to achieve here. We're proud of our Hudson community, and there's some need in the marketplace, and we would like the opportunity to be able to expand a little bit, and you know, for the future of the community, for the future of Atria, for the future of the services that we provide to local residents.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're not really going to dive into the architectural, the other site plan stuff, that is just potentially a determination of intent of the agency. So I don't think we need to really kind of.
Can I just ask one, is there a requirement for state approval for what you're, in terms of adding beds and things like that?
This community, we already have the licensure for assisted living, and there's like an overlay license for memory care, and we already have that.
Okay.
We're expanding. You know, we'll have to work with the state and let them know what we're doing, which we have to do. Anyway.
So these additional 39 beds, or is that, I don't know if that's the right count, 39?
It is, yeah.
Okay. Are those assisted living, are those independent living, or is it going to be part of the memory care? Is that?
As we proceed, you'll see exactly where they are. There's actually two small additions in the back of the building, which are all assisted living, and there's a small addition in the front, which is an expansion of the memory care. So we're adding approximately 15 beds, 15 apartments for our memory care, and we're adding 24 apartments for the assisted living in 3 separate small additions on the building. And as we proceed, you'll see exactly where they are.
Yeah, the next part of the presentation is going to become obvious. How you doing? My name is Mike Youngins. I'm with Kimley Horn. I'm a site engineer. I'm just going to walk you through the site plan. And all the figures I'm about to show you, just to be oriented, everything, all north is up in every one of the photos. All right, this is just an overall aerial of the site. You can see it located there. We've got the Mystic property just to the north of us. We've got Eagle Bay, that's it. Eagle Bay to the south, and then we have Route 9 just to the east. If we take a little bit closer look, you can see the aerial facility fronting on Route 9. We have some commercial uses right on Route 9. We have some single-family residences across to the east. Eagle Bay, you can see just on the bottom of the screen there to the lower left. And then you can see just the tip of the edge of the Mystic property just to the northwest there. Now, the existing site, as mentioned, contains 122 units. 22 of those are memory care, and those are all on the east side of the property. The site today is accessed on the east by Route 9. Parking extends with an access road on the north and south side of the property. And then there's an additional remote parking area just on the south there, adjacent to the Eagle Bay entrance. Today there are 140 parking spaces on site, and there's also a perimeter walkway all around the site. And you can see in the west side there, there's an existing pavilion out in the lawn in the rear of the site. What's proposed is addition in 2 locations. We got a location on the east, which is on the right side of the plan, which is a single-story memory care addition. And the gray area adjacent to that is parking area that we're going to have to realign and do some work to get the grades to match to that new finished floor. We're going to have to add some utilities. We're going to have to add some underground detention there. But the general configuration of what's out there stays what it is today. We're basically enclosing that green space with additional memory care units, and then we're adding in the middle of the memory care, which I'll have some more detail on it a little later. We're adding a memory walkway in the middle there with some additional landscaping. On the left, we're doing quite a bit more improvements. We're adding an extension to the building on the north and south, extending to the west side. The existing pavilion is getting moved to the left. You can see that beige box all the way on the west there. That's the existing pavilion being turned and then placed to the west. Now, when we did the improvements for the west side, we respected the limit of the existing trees against Eagle Bay to make sure that we didn't interfere with any of the existing buffering that's there. We had to place 3 detention basins. That's the lighter green area there. And then we also added on the west side a new fire access road. Now that fire access road, they don't have that today, so this is actually going to improve that condition.
Is that this right here?
Yes, that's that dark gray. Yeah, I have a pointer, but that doesn't seem to work on your TV. Oh wait, there it goes. It does work. That's the access road right there. And that's going to be made of a grasscrete, so it's basically the concrete with the holes in it, so the grass grows through it. And on the left side of that is actually the walkway that used to go through here is being relocated around. So we maintain that perimeter walkway around the site. And just to be clear here, that's the pavilion that used to be right here, got turned over to here. Oh, perfect, thank you. And then these are the detention basins here, here, and here. Now, we had to just do some minor parking modifications, so we had to take a couple parking spaces out here to allow the fire truck to be able to pull into that space. Now, the fire chief has already reviewed this, and he's okay with it. That was one of the first things we did. And we just had to relocate a couple of the parking spaces in here so we maintain that same existing number.
Eagle Bay's access road, is that an easement with you guys? Is that how that works? Because it looks like...
Yes, it is. It's an easement. It's listed in the documents. It was, I know it was transmitted to the first approval, but if you need a copy, we certainly can send it.
And you can see here, actually, this is that first Eagle Bay building right here. So the additions here are actually quite a distance away. You're actually closer to the existing building than you are to the new additions. So it really doesn't affect them. And as I mentioned, all the existing buffering here has actually been maintained. So we don't have an issue with making it more visible than it is today.
Just one quick question. Was there any thought going up as opposed to out? Creating more footprint of the building?
Well,
was there a thought there?
Well, the additions are, and the architect can obviously talk about this a little better. In the front, this addition for the memory care is a one-story, which is an extension of what's there today. And in the back, the extensions are three-story, which again are extensions of the same character of the building today, so they kept the same line of the building. But I'm sure they can talk a lot better about it than I can. The proposed does maintain the existing parking levels, and we had to do just some minor utility movements on site. We had to relocate utilities around here, but nothing, and then just some minor grading in the front drive aisle, but nothing you're going to notice when we're done. And as far as impervious, we're still well under the requirement. We went from 40% to 44%, where 50 is the requirement. And the next thing I want to talk about was the landscaping, because we really made an effort to maintain the landscaping on the site. The landscaping is actually a combination of replanting and relocation of existing trees. The site actually had a lot of trees added to it a couple years ago when it was in here last. So a lot of those trees haven't gotten to a significant size yet. So we're actually able to remove them, stockpile, do the work, and then put them back. So we're only, as a total, removing 3 existing trees from the site. And those trees are actually in the footprint back here. One here, there's another one over here, and then another one here. So it's all in the footprint of the proposed building. Trees otherwise, we are relocating trees from the memory care over here, where there's an existing green area, and we're actually relocating them over here. So we're doing 20 trees, we're relocating from one location to another, and then there's another 20 trees where we have to remove them to do utility and regrading work, which we're going to put right back in the same location. But then moving to the next slide where we talk about the memory care area, we're actually adding in this area, in this pocket, 4 more trees. So we're actually ending up with a net positive of 1 tree. And then additionally in the memory care area we have a number of understory plantings of deciduous conifer bushes, and then a lot of ground cover. And there'll be a lot more detailed plantings in here as we develop the construction drawings, but it's going to be a very finished area.
I'm thinking we're probably going to bring Keller Sessions in to be our consulting here to review whatever's.
The town engineer has actually reviewed this and signed off on the plan.
Oh, so he's, okay.
And that's the conclusion of the site aspect of it. Any questions?
Yes.
All right, architect, or actually, pardon me, traffic next.
I should say one thing, I was delinquent. All of the expansions we're talking about are zoning compliant. So when we're talking about expanding out, and the second zoning aspect is one of the reasons why we can't go up is that the limit is 3 stories and 36 feet, and a lot of the structure is already at over 30.
Good evening, Philip Greeley from Mazer Consulting. Our responsibilities with the project were dealing with parking and traffic. I'll be very brief. We did detailed parking surveys to identify the utilization on the site last year over the course of over a week to get an idea of when peaks occur in terms of utilization. The number of spaces on the site actually is 153 today. Of those spaces, the maximum utilization that we observed was about 90 spaces. So there is excess parking available, which is a good thing because as we add the units, we will be able to use that without putting additional parking on the site, so that's a positive. In terms of the areas where people actually parked, as part of our surveys, we identified where people park, so we know.
Employees,
exactly.
visitors.
Exactly. So, their shift operations in terms of employees tie into the traffic also in terms of, we looked at traffic movements throughout the day, entering and exiting the site with the single driveway. It's easy enough to do that. And then looked at the peak hours relative to activities on the site, but also activity on Route 9, okay? I mean, we have in this section of roadway anywhere from 1,100 to over 1,400 vehicles an hour passing this driveway. In terms of our access on Route 9, as you know, we have a left turn lane northbound, so anybody turning into this facility uses that lane and doesn't affect the through traffic northbound, which is a positive. In terms of the length of that lane, based on our current volumes and the projected additional volumes, that will be adequate to accommodate any increased queue for vehicles turning left into the facility. The access is a median separated, one entry and one exit median. In terms of traffic conditions, the highest time period is really around the shift change at around 3 o'clock. So that's not quite the peak of the traffic on Route 9. That's a little bit later where you get all the commuter traffic closer to around 5 o'clock. But we did look at each of those time periods. We looked at the morning rush hour, the what I call shift change, 3 to 4 time period or around that, and then the later evening to see, because in the later evening, coinciding with the rush hour, we have more visitors. So we looked at each of those time periods. We also looked at the necessity of a traffic signal here. It doesn't satisfy the warrants for a signal. We do get some benefit from the signal up at Mystic Point and the signal to the south at Cedar. That does create some gaps for traffic. In fact, in our traffic study, we get into some very specific details. We have to use certain programs for analyzing traffic. The reality is that we were getting more gaps than what the program that DOT requires us to use because of the signals being in place. So some of the delays that we actually observed as part of our data collection, we take videos to see actual observations of delays, and the delays are less than what typically would be computed, I'll say. Again, we do benefit from the fact of those signals because of the way they platoon the traffic. As I said, it doesn't satisfy the warrants for signalization, so there are no specific improvements out on Route 9 that are proposed.
So your traffic study was submitted and it's in...
That's correct, yes. There's a separate letter that deals with parking and a separate letter that deals with traffic. All the details are in there. So in a nutshell, that's what our part is. There's adequate parking to accommodate the expansion. The additional trips generated by the expansion will be accommodated in terms of no significant change in operations, and it's all spelled out in our reports.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Good evening, my name is Mitchell Levy with NDA Architects. We're the architects of record for this project. Once again, thank you for staying so late while trying to be brief but concise to it. These are photos of the existing building. This area is the main entrance. To the right of it is the life guidance, which is the memory care, which is a single-story building on this side with a fence right now that encloses the memory care wandering garden. That is the area that we will be adding the single-story building, which we'll show in a future photo. In the rear, we are taking it back from the property line on the Hudson edge, looking back at the building itself. This is the pavilion that was mentioned, and this is one of the trees that will be taken down. And this is the building going back to the pool, and this is the tree coverage to the right towards Eagles Bay. This is a close-up to it, walking up the path to here, where this is the existing building, which is a 3-story, and a pool. And then this is the fitness and the art center here, that which we are adding the additional piece to. This part of the building here is towards the parking lot from where the Eagles Bay, where we showed that we're doing the fire lane too, with the retention basin right in here. So this is the existing building, which is here. And that's, we are standing right about here, which is that parking lot with Eagle Bay right behind it. Which is
Right here.
okay. So putting onto the site plan itself, the pink are the new additions. We'll start off with memory care. We're having a double-sided, double-loaded corridor here with the studios, and we're having a single-loaded corridor here wrapping around the courtyard, which we are reducing, but it's within the perimeter of the existing fence itself. You were asking about the numbers for it. We have 15 studios and one shared in that number here for the memory care in doing that. We have the 24 assisted living in these areas. Both of these buildings here, thank you. Both of these buildings here are double-loaded corridors. We have a connection that we are putting on the 3rd floor of the existing, which is only 2 stories in the fitness and the art room, so that we can have connection to the elevator bank, to the building itself. Otherwise, we are going through the existing building to connect. As Adam had mentioned, this is all within the means heights at 29 all the way around. So we're within the 3 stories plus the means. The single-loaded building addition is here. We're not doing a double-sided because of the cliff and the setbacks in here and access to this part, which prohibited to make it a double-loaded. So these are basically 2 units, 3 stories. And this is the pavilion out here. I think you might have to zoom out more. There we go. Just to set up, in the building itself, the blue is all the amenity spaces for the facility itself. And all the yellow are the residential units. So we're adding to this part, and to the front here. And the elevations are matching the existing conditions all the way through. We are taking the exact same materials, the exact same window base, the exact same patios, balconies, color, texture, and the roof lines, so that it's a seamless addition to it. So you have in the back, whoops, this area, which is the addition, is matching to this piece. These are the same roof lines as to the existing here, as well as all in here. So the pitch, the eyebrows, and even to the egress stairs, all have are matching existing conditions. There we go. This is the life guidance, the memory care. This is the existing buildings over here on this site, and we're just adding an extension to it with the existing windows, roof line, going and wrapping around. So it is, there we go. This is the entrance. This is the existing building, and we're just extending it and wrapping it around. Right now, this is the existing photo of the site itself. This is the addition. We've eliminated a few of the bushes and things just so you can see it. And we didn't add the additional trees that were mentioned previously just so you can see the building itself. So this red line, this is the addition, and this is all existing conditions. Thank you. So this is existing, and that's the addition piece to it in the rear. The other side, the single loaded, is the exact same. This is the existing conditions today with the entry and the single-loaded memory care right here with the fence that goes around it. And this is the kitchen in the back, and that's the interior courtyard for the memory care walking garden. This red line delineates the addition, and that's the existing. And we will put the plantings as noted before, and we are going to the edge of what is existing, the parking and the grass. We're not extending it, even though we have to repave it and rework it, but we're not extending beyond that. And we have the color boards to match existing. So we're matching existing roof, window color, the upper siding, and the lower siding. And these are all going to be cementitious boards, which is existing today.
You say window color, it's the frame.
The frame. So there, it's a green frame, and the doors are the frame. So
Was the siding replaced a few years back?
that I don't
Was it
know.
always the color? I thought it changed color at some
I
point,
think
didn't
when
it?
they did this, however many years ago it was now.
Oh, okay.
We're matching whatever, the whole building
Yeah,
is this coloration, so we're matching.
Or
that.
Atria was another senior living place.
Oh,
that
that's
went
what I
to Funk.
remember.
So there was
That's
sort
what I
of,
remember.
there's a long history. There used to be a
Yeah, no, that's
hotel
right.
many years ago.
That's right.
Hotel, too.
It was a
Okay,
hotel, conference center,
It was an idea,
Share.
I decided to begin with.
okay.
art history. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, so, I'll digest, I mean, I guess we'll just make a determination. Oh, okay. Any comments from, so, yes.
My name is Renati Rennie, and I live at Mystic Point. In fact, my house was on one of those pictures. I moved to Mystic Point in 1997, so I've been there. I'm an original owner, and the reason I picked my unit is because it backed up to the ravine to the forested area, which divides Mystic Point from Atria. And about 10 years after I moved there, I was able to save enough money to improve my deck area, and I built a magnificent deck because I loved sitting out on my little wooden deck, and now I have a Trex deck, and I wanted to sit out there and enjoy the peace and quiet and the birds. Shortly after I built my deck, Atria came on site, and all of a sudden, when I went out there, it sounded like a jet engine was always running, a whoosh of air, or if you had a 6-lane highway running by. So I went over to Atria to look at the building, and I realized that they had moved all of their HVAC machinery to the rooftop. And because the way of the ravine is situated, I'm here, they're here, and it just goes across the ravine, and I hear nothing but this rush of noise all the time. So after I built my deck, I haven't sat on it once. I can't keep my windows open because there's always this huge noise. And I was glad to hear that Atria likes to collaborate with the community and is a friendly community place. So I would ask, if you're adding units, if you could look at your HVAC system on top of your building and maybe put sound barriers around it so it doesn't direct its noise toward Mystic or toward Eagle Bay, but goes upward and out, not sideways. So I really would think it would be a good thing, a good community, friendly community point of view, since we're right across the ravine from you and we see you and work with you. Otherwise, I have no problem with Atria. I think it's a great community, and I think it's well maintained. So, but please try to cut down on the noise. Just putting a sound barrier around it, I think, would help. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah. Good evening. I also live at Mystic Point. I'm the president of the HOA, and we had quite a few inquiries and complaints from our residents.
Could you state your name for the record, please?
Oh, it's Michael Stern.
Thank you.
And I live at Mystic Point. Over the several years, we've had more and more complaints about the noise. And it's a hard thing to probably judge with a sound meter that the police department has. I am familiar with those kind of meters. I'm a retired police lieutenant from Yonkers. We always dealt with the noise complaints. It's a very tough type of reading. However, it's a constant whooshing sound. I hear it in my house, I close my windows in the summertime, and you hear like a buzzing sound coming right through your windows.
So just to
Yes.
halt you for a second.
Sure.
It sounds like you have a lot of concerns or items. Do you have them in sort of a submission that you can submit to the board so that we don't have to maybe go through every single one at this late hour? I'm just thinking, we're not approving
This
this.
is two things. It's the
Okay.
noise.
We're not approving
so
this tonight.
confirm the noise.
This is our first look as a board
Yes, and
at this
also,
project.
I understand with the, and I have to preface, I have family who stayed at Atria. It's a wonderful facility, and I also think the expansion would be wonderful for the community. However, I think that these two surrounding residential communities, which is Mystic Point and Eagle Bay, have to be taken into consideration for our well-being and our peaceful quiet and everything like that. And I think that the planning board and the architectural review needs to take that into consideration before they approve any type of improvements or you know.
So those are your 2 points.
What was the
2
other?
points. It's also drainage.
Drainage.
Now, Atria exists on a plateau up on the Route 9 plateau, and there's an extreme ravine that's in back of their property that borders Mystic Point. Below, on that ravine, currently, there's probably at least a 24-inch pipe that takes all the drainage water off of their macadam surfaces and blasts out there and goes down to the bottom of the ravine and goes into a stream that goes out into the Hudson River. So I want to make sure that with any additions they are doing for parking or buildings or anything like that, that they have the proper type of retention ponds, that takes into consideration that we don't have any more of this drainage water going down the ravine and into bordering on the Mystic Point property. We have a trail back there, and I just want to make sure there's no further erosion. That's all. Otherwise, I
And
think
certainly, again, this is going to be a multi-month,
Yes.
multi-meeting process, so certainly submit anything you have.
Yes, I will. Good.
Our
Thank you.
planner, so that she can get it out, she's got to get it out. Anyone else from the public? Okay. So I think essentially just going to make a determination of.
The motion to declare intent to be lead agency.
Yeah, that's.
That's really what we're here for tonight.
So we have a motion?
Motion to become lead agent.
The intent to declare lead
Intent
agency.
to declare.
Right.
Second?
Second.
This is all in favor?
Aye.
Great.
I don't know, do you have to take an action to refer to the EAC as well? Or is it premature?
No, you
It's
can
like a
refer to.
coordinated review, I mean,
Well,
essentially.
but you can refer to the AC at any point if
Yeah.
you want to. We
Yeah.
can get it on for their. for
It
their
expedites-
next agenda.
It would be
expedites the
greatly
process.
appreciated. I know last time the EAC found it was consistent with the LWRP, so we're hoping that's the case again.
Right. No historic review, it's not a district. And, zoning, you guys, there's no zoning
No
board
zone-
issues, no variance
No.
required?
No variances.
So essentially it's going to be us and the EAC.
The AC, correct. Okay.
I mean, the only concern I have is I think, you know, there might be the need to bring in our, you know, our consulting engineer Keller just to do a review. I'm just, you know, it sounds
Yes.
like there's a lot here.
You,
Just
the
wanna make sure
planning board
there's no-
can bring in, if you want a consultant to review this, it's just that our engineer did sign off on it initially, but you
Well, we have
definitely
to
could.
quantify the impacts.
Absolutely.
I mean, essentially, it's a 30% expansion of what's there now, so I think it's kind of behooves us to make sure that we just,
Bring it in.
Yeah, and I think water is a big thing.
Right.
And I definitely also think placement of you know, air conditioning units. I mean, I think we had at some point a discussion, we have had it with other bigger developments, that we did not want rooftop units, but that we had to have it somewhere else, but that was maybe more for a sightline issue. But anyway, things have probably improved in terms of what you can do for noise reduction since 2008, and maybe that's one of the things we need to look at.
Can I say, when they had that, the other facility before Atria took it over, they had the HVACs on the ground, and you didn't hear them at all. I mean, just because of the height, I think it makes it.
so I think that's going to be looked at and
Thank you.
considered.
Yeah, the other thing is, we're also the Board of Architecture Review.
Yeah.
I don't know if the air conditioning units are shielded now visually either, but maybe if there's, that can be combined with, you know, sound mitigation or something like that. But that's something, I think.
They're not shielded, they're completely in view, and they completely blast right down the valley.
Yeah.
There's no shielding, there's no sound barriers.
So maybe that's
Right.
two ways to look at it.
The client hears your comments and the public's. I will say that these complaints were made to the town, excuse me, to the village, and they did the measurements and they were found to be unfounded back a few years.
Well,
So,
we'll-
but that doesn't, we're going to hear the comments, we're going to go back and we'll look at it.
Can I say something about that? Because I initiated those complaints.
I know you
and they-
did.
Yeah, they tested it. And what they said is, it didn't impact my hearing. It doesn't mean it doesn't impact the quality of life, because if you have traffic going by every day, 24/7, I mean, in the winter,
I think for tonight's purposes,
Yeah.
We're not, I'm sorry, I didn't mean
vet
to.
that or, you know,
Okay.
arbitrate it and
I
just
just wanted.
pass down a
yeah.
decision tonight, but, you know,
Okay.
concerns were raised, we're gonna look at
Nice
it.
community think that so we can remediate that problem that we have.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and have a good evening.
See you in a couple weeks. Okay, last but not least, Sing Sing Correctional Facility, application 6-19.
Sing Sing Prison Museum.
Sing Sing Prison.
Yeah.
Right.
The museum.
Museum.
We got the informal last week, so.
Yeah.
They made Jerry Fowler, second director. Formal presentation last week, so same thing, we're gonna do determination of the
Good evening, I'm Nancy Gold, I'm representing the Sing Sing Prison Museum tonight. Our project administrator, Jerry Fiala, couldn't be here because of conflict, but he asked me to come and speak very briefly. We're interested in the notice of intent for the planning board to become the lead agency on this project for a conditional use permit and site plan approval for the Sing Sing Prison Museum. And we hope to that you will facilitate that soon so we can get the civil process going.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, that's an easy
Yeah.
one. Three have one.
Nothing to submit, right? There's no, we don't have like what we have here, so. okay.
Absolutely. No.
So, I'll just skip right to the audience. If there's anybody here to speak to this.
Anybody there?
Anything you want to say?
That's a guarantee that we're going to be able to vote on this now. So, basically, again, same thing, call for a motion to determine that we'll be lead agency and do the application.
I'll move.
Jeff, second Michael. All in favor?
All in favor.
Aye. Thank you.
I was about to say, Jerry Fowler would like to be able to get planning board members to tour this facility, the powerhouse and the 1825 South Block at some point, if we can coordinate that.
And
It's
they-
a fun tour.
And they have a team, they have an architect and.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's selected but not announced yet.
Okay. I just suggested to Jerry, the more he could do to get the thing complete, you know, an architect, an attorney if need be, I mean, talking about that, just so
He did
it's well
prepare-
quarterback.
He did prepare a list of other agencies that would be interested in the process, so
Yeah.
available to you.
Okay, so with that said, call for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Jesus, second? Guy, all in favor?
You have the minutes from the
Yes.
rest.
Oh, minutes.
Minutes?
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to approve this review.
Nope, and you got the resolution to sign.